Okay, we're live.
Hey, how's everybody doing? We got a good show for you tonight. Well, for today. I'm saying today. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about Stellar Blade and a couple of other issues that, not issues, but things that are going on.
Eiyuden
So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Chronicle, the
Yeah.
localization, and the rumor that Watch Dogs, the series, is going to be permanently shelved, or at least shelved for now, I guess. But
Yeah.
I should have the article for that. So, but anyway, I mean,
Yep.
I'll get
So
to
it's
that
going
when
to be a good
we
one.
talk about it.
Yep, for sure.
What's up, Neozoic?
Neozoic.
Spirit of Paradox. I'll just say Paradise.
You could do it. You got it. You could do it. Spirit of Paradox, my guy. What's up, bro?
How you guys doing? So
All right.
we're gonna do things a little. Yeah, there's a little bit of delay again.
Yeah, we're gonna do things a little bit differently. Yeah, we're gonna have more of like a rotating panel, so that we
just
can
to make sure that there's not so much like see if that helps as far as like delays and all that with StreamYard, and also to make sure like everyone has a chance to get their point across and say what they have to say, and not have to like worry about like unintentionally being interrupted because again like there's delays going on and whatnot. So hopefully that helps.
It'll make things easier. It'll make things more focused and precise.
Yeah, make sure everyone gets a chance to say what they have to say. So.
Yo, Christian Phrase, what's up, man?
Yeah. So we'll let some people in soon. But just let me know when I should send the links.
And, send it now. Okay. Send them now. Yeah. Neozoic, to answer your question, my favorite weapon in video games is the Gunblade from Final Fantasy VIII, specifically Squall's Lionheart. But I kind of like the default revolver as well. So either one of those work well for me. Smoking a spliff, my good man. But yeah, like the Gunblade is sick, man. That was a really well designed weapon. And a lot of people don't know Gunblades existed in real life at one point too. So kind of cool. Cool little like fact there. How about everybody in the chat? What's your favorite video game weapons? You can like comment. Let me know what you guys think. Right now, Revenant's sending some links out, so we should have Mugen on, Dan Nerd, and we're gonna have a discussion about Stellar Blade censorship, which I'm looking forward to. I always prefer like live chats and live discourse rather than just commenting on X or whatever. I feel like it's better to do like a live discussion about things. I feel like it's more thorough, so. Yo, Dauntless Gaming, what's up, my man? How's it going? Spirit of Paradox. Damn, how could I forget the Super Shotgun? Shit, I'm a huge Doom fan too. Damn, but you know what? I stand by the Gunblade. But damn, that freaking Super Shotgun. Damn, it's hard to beat that. Any grenade launcher, yeah. Grenade launcher does the job. Guns can't. Normal guns can't. You know what? Actually, you know what weapon is kind of underrated? Sam Fisher's SC-2000, because it was like especially like in Chaos Theory and Conviction, because there were so many like different ways that you could customize it. It was like very versatile. So I thought that was like a cool, like realistic, but like what's the word? Like iconic weapon for Sam, the SC-2000. Yeah, a pistol sword, yeah. But there were other variants of it too. I mean, like there's so many different kinds. There's some where the blade comes out the top and the gun is going forward, kind of like similar to like what Cervantes had in Soul Calibur. Then there are ones where like the blade is directly under the gun. Like I've seen so many cool ones. I've seen a cutlass one that was really awesome. So I'm actually going to incorporate a type of gunblade into my original series auger. So that's going to be like something I implement as well. It's going to be an electrified gunblade. So I'm really hyped for that because that shit is crazy. Yo, Roll Royce 24. What's up, man? How's it going?
All right, I sent some of the links out, so hopefully, some of them get them.
Yeah, I heard it was hard, man. Ghost Recon Wildlands, I kind of liked it. Like that's one of those games where I kind of like it, but I also like feel like it's cheap. It's like somehow fun, but also like a drag. It's hard for me to explain. Like there are a few games like that they're fun, but then I played them for a while and I'm like, man, like it feels more like a chore.
Yeah, Ghost Recon Wildlands, I found it kind of boring and repetitive, to be honest.
I like the game
that you would always have to play with friends, and of course they have to be good in the game and actually have like communication, because I don't think like the story or even like just the whole loop can be kind of boring. So I guess you would have to like have like friends who are like really into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Breakpoint had some good ideas, but it was poorly executed. That's how I feel about that game. As far as Wildlands, I'm kind of more into like the military stuff than Revenant is, more or less. So like
Yeah.
I'm not saying that as an excuse, because what he said is actually true. The game can be boring at times, but like I think I'm willing to tolerate it more because I'm into like the whole like tactical military thing. So
It wasn't the progression for like unlocking like guns and like different like clothing or armor pieces or whatever the fuck. Like wasn't that kind of like grindy? From what
it's
I understand.
grindy. It's
And
grindy,
then
but I
of
kind
course
of
you have some of them behind like paywalls, like
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like I don't mind it because I like the idea that you're playing as like special ops in like a foreign country and you're taking out like these like drug lords and stuff, and like you go into like the area of operating. It could be like a drug farm and like all kinds of shit. So I find it like it's fun, and even like the gunplay is good. The hand to hand like takedowns pretty much suck. Like I don't know how a grown man who's fighting for survival would go down from some of the attacks they do. Like they'll literally just grab them from like behind your neck and just place them on the ground, and I'm supposed to believe that took them out. Like that's a whole nother like thing. But overall, I like the game, and I like the weapon customization as well.
Hey, Muggin Lord.
Hey, what's up? What's going on, guys?
I like your Marvel vs. Capcom 2 arcade cabinet.
Oh, thanks.
That's pretty
I remember
cool.
playing that on the PS3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I even owned the digital copy of it on the PS3, not deleted whatsoever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on the Xbox 360, the HD release.
Hell yeah. I used to go crazy on that game, man.
Yeah. And I still have my Dreamcast version too. So,
bro, let me tell you some ghetto ass crap real quick. Me and my friend, we both wanted to play the game, and the PS2 version was broken, right?
Right.
So we used to always play it on arcade. So we would go to like the Dominican restaurant like near in our neighborhood, which just randomly had a Marvel versus Capcom 2 like thing in it. So like you're like in this like it's like such an unfitting setting. You have like a Marvel versus Capcom 2 cabinet into like literally a Dominican club, bro. It was crazy. And they would tell us to leave because when it gets how it is, bro. When it gets late, it gets crazy in there. So they're like, all right, I gotta go. Yeah, but damn, bro, that just brought back like a shit ton of memories doing that.
Make sure everything is.
So, Mugen, how's everything going?
Oh, everything's good. Everything's fine, man. Just I got over COVID about last week, and now I have post-nasal drip.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Oh, that freaking sucks, bro.
Yeah, so that's what
my
I'm going
dad
through right
has
now.
Lyme disease.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, bro. There was a guy I used to train with. He had a Lyme disease. We train. He trains MMA with me, and like he was so talented, bro. And like the fact that he would miss weeks of training because of Lyme disease is like so unfortunate, especially when how most people get it, through like a tick or like something that like could happen to anyone. It's just like it's one of those diseases that I find really unfortunate. It's like really literally just getting unlucky,
Yeah. So this whole thing, I'm like a week behind. I gotta catch up on my recordings for my YouTube videos and everything. So I had to sit a whole week out and just rest because all my
I feel
videos are
that.
pre-recorded. Yeah, all my videos are pre-recorded, so I always got them. I always do them days in advance, and I just schedule them to upload.
okay.
But yeah, I'm a week behind now because I had to sit out a whole week to get over this COVID.
I do something similar with my videos
That's
where like
smart to
I'll
get them like
because I'll have
Yeah.
like I do a lot of like Arkham videos, so I have like hundreds of clips saved, and like I just like I can just like patch them together like at any time and like upload them. So
Yeah,
I do something like similar. It just makes it. I know what you mean. It makes it easier, you know.
yeah. It does have its drawbacks because sometimes some videos might be like real old because new information came out, so that means the video may not have all the context because new information came in and stuff. So there is a strategy to it. Sometimes I scour like the internet to make sure, like, okay, this haven't been updated. There's no update on this. Okay, I can run this for next week. I can have this video up on next week's schedule, or whatever like that, and won't be affected by it. But when you have stuff like Stellar Blade and all the controversy surrounding that and other
time sensitive.
It's time sensitive.
You got to do it. You got to do it when it's hot.
Yeah. Well, I also learned too, sometimes wait, because I don't want my channel to be filled with the same content over and over again because it's constantly being updated. So sometimes I'll just wait until there's a lot of it and then make it one big video. That's why my videos be like 26, 28 to 30 minutes long, because I try to cover all of it in one big gigantic video with also some of the latest stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And even then, right after it goes up, something new comes out.
Hey, you know, the thing is like we're adults, so we all have like, you know, an actual attention span, right? Like I prefer long form videos, but like, you know, kids nowadays, if you're not getting to it in like within the first minute, you know, a lot of times they'll like jump ship, you know, before even getting to the nitty gritty about it, you know?
And,
But
and Mook and Lord, have you ever heard of Go-Go Moba Boy?
No, I haven't heard of that. No.
He's an obscure cartoon character pilot meant for kids WB I overhype. He looks like Mega Man.
Oh, okay.
And he has a supportive, attractive 18-year-old sister named Roxy now.
Oh, okay.
Not to mention she is the same voice actress as Frankie Foster.
Oh, all right. Interesting.
And I hope many more people do fan art of Roxy now.
Okay.
Well, it helps that she's a redhead.
So
yeah.
So Mugen, you got to play you got to play Stellar Blade yet?
Yeah. I just got finished when I got the link sent to the StreamYard. I just turned it off. Because yesterday I was supposed to play. I bought some pizza and everything. They end up coming home, and then my comic book artist, she hits me up, and then me and her got into discussion because my book, I got 4 more pages. Next month, my book will be complete or whatever like that. So
let's go, bro.
Yeah, so I spent all those hours talking with her, plotting some things out, planning for the launch presentation, you know, for the whole comic book universe and stuff. So I ended up not playing it last night or whatever. So when I woke up this morning, had to pick my daughter up because her school had like those lock-ins where you stay a night at the school. So I had to get up and pick her up like 7:45 in the morning. Then once I got home, I was like, you know what? Let me play some Stellar Blade while I'm up or whatever.
Bro, so, I don't knock you, dude, because you know the Stellar Blade will be there, right? But getting that comic book going is, you know, getting everything ready is more important.
Yeah, man. I'm super excited. I'm super excited for this, man. Like, this is something that I've been waiting for. I'm anxious about it because I don't know how the public's going to respond to my comic book universe and the stories that I have in mind and stuff like that. This is new. You know, I don't know I don't know what the future may hold for this. So it's really exciting. I'm nervous at the same time.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm actually going to just build my own thing. You know what I'm saying? And see where this goes. This is all
bro.
This is all building towards game design. I want to get into creating my own video games eventually as well, you know. So this is just the first phase of all this. So
well, you know what they say, right? Be the change you want to see.
Yeah, exactly.
Luke and Lord, speaking of video game design, I was able to archive video game bonus features, you know, like documentaries and stuff like that. And I put them on IMDb so more people learn those facts.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, man. This is going to be one hell of a journey, man. And hopefully this inspires others to like do the same thing. Just go take a chance, man. Take a chance with yourself.
I'll tell you something crazy. I'm working on a few projects now myself because I do a lot of digital art. I don't know if you know that, but so right now I have like the voice actors recording lines for me because I learned from like my mistake from the first episode that I made where I had to like kind of sync the voices afterward, which was like like after I had already animated everything. So that was so fucking difficult. So I was like, all right, no, I'm getting all the voice lines first now, getting everything ready. And episode 2 and 3 are like they're in the works and they're gonna be like really good.
That shit was fire, man. That animation, dog. That shit was fire. I watched it like 4 times back to back. Like that, it's really good, man. Really, really good. So that's really interesting. Can't wait to see what you're going to build out of that. What other characters you want to involve and stuff. I think. Cool.
Man. Oh yeah, and like honestly, like the first episode, I basically had harder time constraints. So the animation, I had to I didn't rush it, but I had to make a lot of sacrifices because I didn't have a good workflow yet. But now, like for episodes 2 and 3, the animation is going to be way more fluid and way more tight. So I'm hoping to up the quality and bring more people on and keep going as things progress. And eventually, like I said, I'm in the same boat with you, bro. I want to do like comics, games. I want to like have like a whole like brand built off these characters. And I feel like the same way you do in that we have to be the alternative because we can't rely on these companies anymore. These companies cannot be trusted. If we don't do it, no one will do it.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I'm trying to put out there is like, you can't trust these companies, but you also have to be proactive and do something about it yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can't wait for, others to do it for you. You got to get up and be that change, make that change yourself. I don't care how you do it, man, but just do it. Just take a chance. And that's why I'm trying to just put that message out there. Like right now, man, this whole Stellar Blade situation is like really crazy right now.
Yeah.
It's like the situation where it's like, okay, should I support them? But if I do support them, then I'm supporting censorship. But at the same time, we still have a protagonist like Eve, who's beautiful, hot, sexy, and stuff.
Exactly.
If we don't support it, we give the journals what they want, and then the companies.
It's like kind of like hard in a rock place.
Yeah, exactly.
And Mujin, like with me, this is how I look at things. Because me and you have like talked in the past, and like I followed you for a while, and like you've seen my posts, and like I hate to say it, I can be hot-headed sometimes. You see some of the shit I post, I can be like pretty like hot-headed, but I always feel like I want to be objective in what I want to be objective in what I say, because I feel like we should support. Like I feel like people need to understand that situations are nuanced and they have to be discussed with that in mind and discussed intelligently. So for me, I can say I was just playing the game before the stream, right? And I'm like, I love, because I have some free time. I was like, I love Stellar Blade. I love the game. I think the game is fun. I think it's great. I think it's a slap in the face to the fucking journals who are saying that, it's just sex appeal. Turns out the game has a deep story and good combat. All that stuff is great, but I have to call out the censorship. I can't be like, to me, it's like a corporate slave mentality to say, well, I like this thing, so I can't criticize it. So I think that as long as the discussions are taken with nuance and consideration, I think it's okay to say, no, the censorship isn't good. Sony should be held accountable, and we have to the CEO of Shift Up has to be held accountable for that. However, that doesn't mean I'm saying don't play the game, don't support it either. I think one thing that gets me like really fired up is the contrarian mindset that people are not mad because of the situation. They're mad because other people are upset about it. So instead of saying, well, they themselves will be against censorship, but they'll be upset because of the fact that people are talking about it rather than being upset with the situation itself. I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, because like you also have people like, I don't know, what should I do? Like, I really want to play the game, but I feel as though if I play the game or buy the game, then they also going to get that backlash from the people who wants to boycott the game and stuff like that. And I tell people like, look, you gotta still at the end of the day think for yourself. You can't have people thinking for you. The wokies, they all don't have a brain. They all just
they're the board.
One another, and we still, even on the anti-woke, we can't fall in that crowd.
They're all programmed the same.
Yeah, you can't do the same thing. Like, you still have to think for yourself. Don't have nobody give you the answer. If you want to play Stellar Blade, play it.
Play it, yeah, exactly.
Go ahead, play it. Don't worry about what other people's going to think and say about you and stuff. Because it was people saying like, man, I'm surprised, Mugen Lord, no one calls you a sellout or a shill or this is that and the third. I say, yo, when I started on this whole journey or this trip doing this whole culture war stuff, I was straightforward about who I am and what I am when it comes to this and stuff. All I do is put the information out there so you can make your own informed decision whether or not you want to support something. I never tell people to not buy anything. It's your money. You can do what the fuck you want to do.
And it's your opinion. It's your opinion.
Exactly. And
the
reason why I tell people like, yo, I tell people don't, do what you want with your money, because I'm not going to sit there and tell people, hey, don't buy this and don't buy that just for me to turn around and buy it on my end. That makes me a fucking hypocrite. So that's why I always tell people, well, look, even though I'm telling you this information, you don't have to listen to me, but I'm just putting it out there so you can make your own informed decision. If you want to support it, support it. If you don't, you don't. It's just as simple as that. So I've just been straightforward from the beginning. That's why I don't get hit with all this, you grifting or you shilling, you doing this thing. No, I already told you what my stance are. That's why even when it comes to like certain things, like it's like I said, it's always more nuanced. I know there's a lot of people that's really, really hate the whole localization thing how bad localization is. Me, yes, localization is stupid what these localizers are doing, but that's not on my priority list for me of things for me to say, hey, I'm not going to buy a game or whatever like that. I've been playing bad localization since I was since I was a kid and stuff. So that really doesn't bother me. If the game is fun, the characters are interesting, entertaining, and I got my money's worth, I'm going to buy the game. But some people put localization on that priority list of things that, hey, I'm not supporting it.
Yep.
So
and everyone has their own perspective on things and what they're willing to tolerate.
Let me quickly answer Neozol's question, because I want to
go ahead.
No, I don't want to ignore it or anything, but as far as Blizzard canceling BlizzCon, losing money, I say good for them because they deserve it, because they've been making a lot of dumb decisions lately and haven't been listening to their audience and doing a whole bunch, basically, just doing a bunch of dumb shit, typical corporation type of decisions that are leading them down this path. And the way I look at it is like they're another studio within the industry that really needs to go, or at least change their ways. But if they were to shut down or keep losing money, I honestly don't feel bad for them. So
I just look at that as like their self-inflicted wounds are bleeding, and like it is what it is. That's how I look at stuff like that. But I want to say something about localization, and also like with Stellar Blade, based, similar to what you said. I think I usually end a lot. Well, I usually say in a lot of these streams that just like that, people can do whatever the fuck they want to do. I just say it just like that, do whatever the fuck you want to do. But in the end of the day, right? I feel like we have to choose. We have to be individual about it, but also people are naturally gonna have biases to certain things, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes we have to look past our bias in order to really engage with the truth. So like, for example, I wouldn't ever tell somebody how they should spend their money, but but what gets to me is when people criticize other people for reasonably being upset for things that happen. For example, look at what happened with Stellar Blade. How many people pre-ordered the game thinking, being directly told it's going to be uncensored, for example, and then that turned out not to be true. It turned out to be a lie. Because again, even though I'm enjoying the game, I like the game, I would have supported it anyway. I guarantee you that I would not pre-order it if I knew Sony censored it from day one. If I knew that was what happened, I wouldn't have gotten it day one, or I would have bought it used or something else, because I don't want to support, that practice, right?
Yeah.
But I think like also to what you said, everyone has to make their own choice. And and again, if a game is good, a game is good. Like I can look at a game like The Last of Us 2 and say, even though I think the story and narrative are absolute dog shit, I'm not going to pretend that the graphics aren't like top notch and the gameplay isn't good. I have to live in reality. So I think that like a lot of people in the space, like you said, are like, I hate to say it, but like they are like farming for that hate engagement, and they see any little shred of anything, they like jump the gun. But I think that the other end of that is people will do mental gymnastics to justify things, because like you said, they are afraid of being criticized, right? Like for me, no one can ever go on anything that I've posted on and say I'm inconsistent. I'm the same way. I've been clear on my stance on everything from day one. I'm unfortunately very vocal People have, it's tough for me to shut up because if I don't like something, everyone's gonna know it. I'm not gonna stay shut. And for me, like, it's really that people are trying to silence others for speaking out that gets me aggravated about it. Not that they personally don't care, but that they're telling other people to shut up and just accept a censorship like a bootlicker. Just shut up and don't complain about it. I don't like that. I don't like that mentality. I feel like those people should be called out, and rightfully so, because they're just as bad as the people who are telling people what and what not to buy. And as far as like localization goes, look, one of my favorite games is Robot Alchemic Drive. I don't know if you played that. Have you played it before?
No.
That game has some of the worst localization you will ever, like, translation, voice acting, localization you will ever see, bro. It's absolute dog shit, but it's one of my favorite games. So, we grew up with like Final Fantasy, a lot of these Japanese games, and they've had like terrible like localization, terrible translations, terrible acting or whatever. But what gets to me now is more so that localizers are using this stuff to like they'll take a character that's like a waifu and then make her an anti-patriarchy, pundit, right? The lines are like totally changed and subversive to be basically pro-agendist lines. So for me, that's what I don't like about the localization. I don't mind if they change things. Like, for example, I don't know if you've Dr. Stone. Have you ever seen Dr. Stone?
No, I never watched it.
Well, it's an anime that I like, and they've changed a lot of like the dialogue to fit like more of like how people talk now with like modern slang and stuff like that. And like, I don't mind it. It can be modernized, it can be localized, ever. But I think that it's important that we don't let them get away with adding unnecessary agendas, wokey bullshit into the games either. And I think that there's levels of egregiousness with that, right? Like, it could be a minor thing. Like, a character is just, they just changed it and she just says a line that's more like hip to like what people say now. But then there's times where they'll have a character literally complaining about patriarchy, and what they said is totally different. Like, absolutely, like, totally disconnected from what the original lines were.
Yeah, because I did a video about localization, and I shown a clip. I can't remember what the name of the anime was, but the chick was literally talking about Gamergate. She's like, because the guy was looking in her direction and she thought he was being a perv, and she said, I hope you're not one of those Gamergate guys. And I'm like, and then I showed the original with the Japanese version. Gamergate was nowhere in that at all. It was like a totally different, context. So I definitely know what you're talking about. But the fact that he slipped Gamergate in the English dub, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't mind I think like localization isn't the problem. I think it's just that we have to, like I said before, use nuance, and we have to curate like when it's serious and when it's not serious. Like, one thing that I actually agree with you on, because obviously we don't agree on everything, but I do like we generally have like similar mindsets, like from what we've spoken about before, and I think like one thing that we agree on is like the black female character in the game, where people were complaining and like some people are trying to say it's woke just because she's in the game. And I'm like, the existence of a black character doesn't make something woke. Like, that's some dumbass shit to say. I mean, like, and then complaining about her hair, and like, I wish more black women would wear their natural hair,
Yeah. I think, and this is where I was getting at with that was the fact is that, like, this whole anti-woke movement is gaining traction, and we actually starting to like penetrate and starting to get these journals, and we starting to scare these people like, yo, like, these guys are becoming effective. And when a movement start becoming big, you're going to start having a lot of bad faith actors that's going to come in here, and they're going to use that our movement in order to spill out nonsense that they believe in. And those type of people would destroy any type of momentum that we have. Because to me, in my personal opinion, and I don't like using the race card, I hate it. I just thought that was racist as shit. Like, you said that her hair is ugly. Everybody's talking about how ugly her hair. Like, yo, that's a natural black woman's hair.
Exactly.
So you're basically saying that a black woman hair in general is just fucking ugly as shit. Like, you understand what you're saying here, guys. Like, think about what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And bro, like, look, we both know, like I said, we both been around the block. We both know what it looks like when a black woman takes care of her hair and when they don't take care of her hair. Yeah. We both know, bro. I don't gotta say nothing. You know all about this. And like, to say that, I agree with you. I think it's fucking racist to assume that the hair that grows out of your head is inherently ugly, right? And like, honestly, like, this is me personally. So, I get some people might not agree with this. I personally can't stand seeing fucking black women with weaves on and like fake hair and shit. I hate that shit. Some people like it, some people don't mind. I don't think it's the end of the world if a woman wants to, she can do whatever she wants. I personally prefer natural hair, and I think that it's good that they're representing that. I think if you're gonna represent a black woman in a game and she has her natural hair, I think that's way fucking better than her putting her in like a fucking weave. Because if you have a black woman in a game with straight ass hair, you know, you can do whatever mental gymnastics you want. The real world counterpart is it's a fucking weave or like, you know, whatever, you know? So like, so I mean, like, I that's one of those things I agree with you on. I'm glad you called it out because it's like you said, there's a lot of people that will take this movement and they're going to try to twist it and warp it. And then they end up becoming controlled opposition, whether intentionally or unintentionally. They become agents of the left because it's like an extremist. It's like you see an extremist do something and they just like disparage, like Christians, right? Like, or Muslims. You have some Muslims go crazy and then all Muslims get blamed. You have some Christians do something heinous, all Christians get blamed or whatever. So
and bro, another thing too about this whole thing too is like I'm trying to teach people not to be too reactionary because I think that they want to start getting smart and start putting false flags out there to get us to react to it, do videos about it, and then it ends up not being that just to try to discredit us and stuff. I think we need to start being careful as well. And start looking out for false flags. I think they're going to start doing that, putting out to make things appear one way, and then we all react to it, and then it ends up not being what we thought it was. And I think that was another way to shut us out too and destroy any momentum we had. So I think we got to be careful with that as well.
Because they could call us out and say that, oh, look at all these idiots. Look at what they're talking about. See, why would you listen to these people? Look, they were wrong about this, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, like they can twist the narrative, they can twist it and use that as weaponry against us, right?
Because recently, the Fallout series, a lot of people were saying it's good, and a lot like Nerdrotic and a couple other channels who was calling it woke before it came out and stuff like that. And now their whole narrative changed, or some of them just silent about it because after they made their whole entire video or made a bunch of videos calling it woke and all this other type of stuff, and then the show actually happens to have some merits and actually has some quality to it. It pretty much gave that side ammunition, saying, "See, this is like you should have just wait and see what it was before you say anything." And that's the thing that I'm talking about, that we really have to be careful. I think they're going to start being calculated about this as well.
Yeah. And like we said, use your brain, use nuance. It's important. Nuance. Nothing. Look, so many people act like this stuff is black and white, and in the reality of it is that it's every. Not all of it, but most of this shit is extremely nuanced. Like you could look at something that's like you could look at Spider-Man 2. All right, no question, that shit was a woke mess, right? Like we there is no fucking debate there. But like when you look at something like, for example, like Fallout, right? Like if you play Fallout 4 with the mindset you have now, you're gonna play that game and think half the shit in there is woke, because you got like gay people everywhere. You got like all kinds of fuckery going on in the wasteland, right? Because they're like wasteland savages, right? So you can look back at some of these old games and say they're woke. You can, like, so many of them, but I think a part of that is also because they've been so aggressive about the wokeness now, that I think people are just more sensitive to it. So I think that's also, these people are frustrated because all their work is being called woke, but I feel like also that's because they did it to themselves. They created that narrative by constantly pushing all this shit the last few years. But regardless, like, we look at all this stuff that from the past, and you can call a lot of it woke, but in the end of the day, you have to use nuance, right?
Yeah.
Like, and we have to use our brains, right? Like, you could play Final Fantasy VII, the original, and it's super politically incorrect, but there are a couple of things where you could say, all right, that could be considered woke. Is it woke? Probably not, right? But like, it's just the way things are now. So
and another thing too, I also mentioned, like, a lot of my recent videos, I was talking about the Star Wars Outlaws and a couple other games where I was saying that, guys, we can't be so caught up in this culture war stuff, and we actually forget about what the real problem is with gaming. And the real problem with gaming is right now is these microtransactions, developers cutting the game, removing features, and still selling it to you for $70 and stuff like that. I say, even if you remove the wokeness out of this, we still have a problem within the gaming industry itself. I think this is the core problem. Or when if a game fails, people automatically think because it failed because it was woke. No, sometimes you also gotta look at it that, this game was just bad. This was a bad fucking game. So we also got to just, move the wokeness out of it for a second and then look at the game for what it is. Is the game actually good? Is it actually fun? How's the storytelling? Like, how's the pacing and all these other type of things? So,
there's a lot of factors to it.
It's a lot of factors. I mean, the wokeness is part of it, but it's not the main thing. The game
it's not the sole factor.
Game.
Sometimes it's just the fact that the game just is not a made game, whether if it's the writing or the gameplay. Maybe it just has a bunch of technical issues. I mean, it could be a whole different bunch of facets of things. And the woke shit is just like one part of a whole bigger mess that's already existing in the game.
Look at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, for example. Even if the game wasn't woke, it would still be a lazy dog shit live service game.
Definitely, man.
By the way, you got to see the comments on my last video. I made an animation about it, and like you gotta see that comment section. It's like fucking hilarious. It's like 90% of it is like people thanking me for because they fucking hate the game so much because it's like an alternate ending I made. But then 10% are people saying y'all just mad, y'all just coping, and I'm thinking dude, the game fucking sucks and it's gonna be dead within the year. Why is this the hill you're gonna die on, bro? But
that animation you did was so amazing.
Oh, thank you, Christian. I appreciate it.
Even with the Avengers game, even if the Avengers didn't look was woke or looked the way it looked, and the characters looked awesome and stuff like that, and the aesthetic and stuff, the game as a whole, the system itself, the mechanics, it was a bad game. The Avengers was a bad game. I don't care if they changed it up, how it looks or whatever. The game was just bad. The game was bound to fail to begin.
Yeah. I mean, you could remove peanuts from shit. It's still shit, right?
Yeah.
That's how I look at the wokeness. It's like wokeness is peanuts lodged in shit. If you take the peanuts away, is it still shit or is it a fucking peanut butter jelly sandwich, right? Whatever, like you said, the weird analogy, but I think it makes the point, But it's freaking crazy, and I that's my problem with Rebirth, right? A lot of people I've said, what's funny? I've said that I don't, it's very clear I hate that fucking game. I think I hate it. I think it's dog shit, but some people assume that I don't like it because it's woke. I've commented that I think the game's a bad remake, and people say, "Oh, but it's not woke. Why? How does it woke?" I'm like, I never said it was woke. I never said it was woke. It's just I get people I can understand the perspective of people that like the game, but they have to understand that was not only an extremely popular game played by millions, but a lot of people grew up with that game. They're gonna have an opinion that's more honestly not all. It sounds fucked up, but everyone has a right to an opinion, but not all opinions hold weight.
Yeah, bro. I mean, the thing that gets me about Rebirth, well, you got some people saying this shit is game of the year. This game is not.
Hell no. Hell no.
Game, I love you from some Final Fantasy VII. I'm a Final Fantasy VII fan. I said this times and times again. That's why I'm a sucker to buy the trilogy, because I'm a Final Fantasy VII fan, and I want to see where the story is going to go and how much they're going to really do it, fuck this up, because I still love Final Fantasy VII. I still want to see these characters and revisit this world, no matter how they do it, or whatever. I even played the compilation. I hate the compilation, but I played the compilation, Well, so the trilogy is no different. I want to play it because I love Final Fantasy VII, and when I've been seeing people saying it was game, this is game of the year, and then what really took me is when Maximilian said that this the best game, the greatest game he ever played. I was like, what? I was like, right. No, Max, no. Are you exaggerating or are you dead serious? This is the greatest game you've ever played.
Square Enix cashed them checks, bro. That's what it was. They cashed them checks with Max.
Rebirth has its moments. I'm not going to sit here and lie to and be disingenuous to everybody and just say I fucking hate everything about the game. No, it has its moments. But let's be real here. I think the real thing that really gets me, because the bigger flaws I'm starting to see now, is because I'm going to do a second playthrough, but I'm realizing, man, damn. This second playthrough, it made me realize how bad the pacing is because of how many quests, so many things that they've thrown into the game. And a lot of people say, "Oh man, it's a lot of content." And no, it is a lot of content that's in the game. But now that I'm doing a second playthrough, and I'm like, damn, this shit is it's like a checklist.
It's a drag. It's a job. It's a job.
Let me put it this way: it's like I want to play through. It's like I learned now that I played Rebirth. And I'm looking, I'm like, when I play my RPGs, I love a balance to where it's like, okay, yeah, there's some stuff I can go off the beaten path to do a few things, but I want to get back on the path because I want to do some. I want to see where the story is going to go. What Final Fantasy VII Rebirth does is it's like, you get like the main scenario, and then once you get a teeny bit of the main scenario, then all of a sudden a whole like a whole checklist of things you can do or whatever like that. Now you can ignore the checklist, but if you ignore the checklist, you missing out on opportunities to level up, to get your party level up, because you need your party level to go up in order to get those team abilities, and those team abilities is really, really, really good. So if you skip that stuff, you're going to miss out on that. You're not going to get those things that's really important that can help you get through the game. And then they lock some important tidbits to the story behind some of those quests, because the main scenario is going to just not even mention it. So like now you have like man, I have to do some of this in order for me to get what I need to get out of this. And then before you know it, you're doing almost everything. And then you spent like 12 to 15 hours doing a bunch of everything on the checklist. And then now you go back to the main scenario, and then the main scenario give you a little nugget of information. And then next thing you know, another checklist comes back up again. And then it breaks up the pace. So, and
like kind of
reminds
me
that sounds
of like a Ubisoft game. Because some people
I was about to say
that's
that.
what people saying. Now, this is the thing. When I made the review, and I was saying, man, it's not bad. I said I like the objects, this, that, and the third. And people in the comments are like, dude, this is just nothing but a Ubisoft game. Now, to mind you, I don't play Ubisoft games. I think Ubisoft fucking sucks. I don't like.
Oh, definitely.
Don't play Ubisoft games. So I don't know like the nature behind a lot of their games and like the methods of how they do things. So me seeing this content, to me, it feels like this is new to me or whatever I think. I don't play Ubisoft games. So a lot of people are saying like this is nothing. All they did was just copy and paste what Ubisoft did. I don't know. I don't really fuck with Ubisoft games. So I wouldn't know or whatever. But now that I'm seeing it and everything, it fucks up the pacing. And then when you play the new game plus, like the hard mode on Rebirth, they give you the option. Do you want to bring over your quest data, meaning that whatever quest that you completed, you don't have to do those or whatever. The only things that's available is the quest you haven't completed. So now that I'm running through it or whatever like that, the game is really not that long. If you ignore everything, but the time for you to get to these different story beats is so fucked up. It's because of how the pacing is with the quest and everything like that. So
that's crazy because you got people trying to make it seem like oh, it has all this content, has all these things you can do, and it expands on this and that, and it's like all of it is just filler and bad pacing. That so many other games have done. That, I mean, come on, we've seen so many games like Horizon Zero Dawn or fucking Far Cry or a bunch of other games like that where it's like they just have you doing minuscule shit. Collect this, collect that, go here, kill this, bunch of fetch quests and all that. And they'll sprinkle in a couple of cutscenes here and there, and people just eat it up and think like, "Oh man, this is great! Look at all this time I'm playing this game." It's like that's what they want you to do, so they can justify the price of the game.
Yeah, like the mini games, like they jammed a whole lot of mini games. Now there's some mini games I'm like, yo, this is actually fun, but the things is there's some mini games where it's like it's baked into like a quest, or it's baked into like the story where you have to play it. And I'm like, damn, like, do I really have to play this shit over like that? I want to just progress ahead, but no, you have to play it in order to progress farther and stuff like that. I remember it was this one quest, like for instance, like we finally found out, like I said in my video, you found out that Wedge actually died, because in Remake, the Whispers came in and threw that motherfucker out the window, but just like Kingdom Hearts, if you didn't see the motherfucker die, that motherfucker ain't dead. It's the same thing that I applied that same logic with Wedge. You hear the window shatter, but you don't know if he's fucking dead. So you have to wait until Rebirth. And I was hoping like, oh man, maybe we'll find out in Rebirth what happened and stuff. So the thing is this thing called Proto Relics. The Proto Relic quest is pretty much a Gilgamesh quest. When what happened is Gilgamesh armored pieces had pretty much fell into the Final Fantasy VII universe, and Gilgamesh is trying to get his pieces back. Now, Chadley, that asshole, that kid named Chadley, who gets on my nerves, he has you go through the quest to get these proto relics. Now, he don't know what these proto relics does, but it has some weird energy to it. Now the thing is, the proto relics are locked behind these like different quests. Most of them be like mini games and stuff like that. You have to go to different parts of the map to be able to find it and stuff. So every time Cloud would get a proto relic, it would take him to Gilgamesh's like dimension where you meet him and you get like a little cutscene, and then it would throw Cloud back into his universe again. Well, anyway, one of the to find out about whether or not Wedge died or not, you had to do it was locked behind a proto relic quest that I knew nothing about.
Shit.
After a while, I got annoyed with the proto relic because it was like some of the proto relic stuff. You had to play like the Fort Condor mini game, which I like the Fort Condor mini game. But the problem was after a while, it's like after you beat one game, then you had to run to a whole nother. Chadley would send you to a whole nother part of the map because he found a signal of where the proto relic may be. Then you got to go down to the other end of the map, play another Fort Condor game, and the difficulty gets harder and harder. I think you have to play four different Fort Condor games. You have to play four different ones in order for you to get one of the proto relic pieces. Well, they end up doing the same thing for the Wedge backstory. You get to Cosmo Canyon region. You go there and shit like that. Now the thing was, I started getting sick and tired of the proto relic. I said, man, at this point, I just want to see where this story is going. I want to see how fucked the story is. I don't want to do no more proto relics. I'm tired of running around the map. So what happened was my brother Keo, he said, he's like, bro, I don't think you should do that. I think you should do the Cosmo Canyon proto relic ones. I'm like, why? He said, well, you want to find out what happens to Wedge. I was like, are you fucking serious? They decided to hold that hostage behind the proto relic quest. He said, yeah, crazy. Man. He said, go check it out. I'm like, fuck. So now I had to stop what I was doing, and I ended up doing the proto relic quest, which it also gives you more backstory of Avalanche and some of the characters that was in the Yuffie DLC. They make a return, and then you get more backstory on Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse. You start to learn more about Jesse. All that was locked behind the fucking proto relics. Now, guess what? In order for you to get the proto relic, to get these cutscenes, you had to play another fucking mini game. Now, this mini game, right. What they did was with this mini game, they took the Final Fantasy 12 Gambit system, and what they did was you had these little drones that Chadley made, and it's this slime monster that's protecting the proto relic, and he creates other little slime monsters. You have to take these little drones. They all have different classes, different abilities, and it's like a tower defense or something like that, where you have to send the drones, and it's like paper, rock, scissors. It's like you have lightning, fire, and then you have ice, and then you have to create drones based on the elements of the slimes that you fight or whatever like that. And then you have to beat the boss in the middle, and you also have to fight. You also have to kill it before the time limit runs out. Because if you lose, you have to do the whole thing over.
Oh my god!
The thing is, you can't command the drones. The drones runs off the Gambit system from Final Fantasy 12. You have to program the gambits before the match actually starts, and then you just let everything do its own thing
and pray to God and hope it worked.
And hope it fucking works. Exactly. And guess what? There's 4 of them. There's 4 of them that you have to do. After you beat one of them, it's easy, and then you have to go across the map to find the other one and fight that one until you get to the 4th one, which is the hardest fucking one, and they give you more slots to put more gambits in there. It's fucking ridiculous. I had to do all that to find out whether or not Wedge died.
Bro. and here's the thing with that, right? Like you see what you're saying about this game. That's actually perfectly illustrates why I dislike the remakes, right? Because it's like you have this like clear-cut story, right? And we both know like the 3-disc shit is bull BS. Like we all know that game is short otherwise. And like you got people justifying this. I'm like, they had cut the game already thin story into 3 games.
Like 30 hours.
Now they have to
like 30 hours worth.
Now basically. They have to force you to do all this shit to make you feel like you're playing a more complete game. They have to put all this padding and hide shit and lock shit, make the game extremely hard, as you said, if you don't do these side quests, because their vision was flawed from the beginning. Like. So the game, it's not even about wokeness. It's like even the censorship bullshit that happened, the wokeness or whatever. It's like you're taking a simple, fun game that could have been one of the best remakes of all time, and you made it into a theme park. You're basically playing a theme park version of Final Fantasy VII.
I forgot to mention this in my video. I forgot to mention this in my Rebirth video. I forgot. And when you go to Cosmo Canyon, when you play the card game, the Queen's Blood, because that's another thing too. That game is fun. It's fun, but there's a lot of things that's locked behind that too. That if you don't do those Queen Blood things, then you won't get special goods or get backstory on certain things and stuff. Well, I went to Cosmo Canyon and I ended up playing somebody, a player that was in Cosmo Canyon. I think he used to be in Soldier, I think. And this guy was a deaf mute. So he was using sign language and shit. So when Cloud, I walked in there and Cloud said, "Excuse me," because the guy wasn't talking. He started using sign language and stuff. And Cloud said, "Oh, you're using such and such." He said, "Yeah, we used to use this back in Soldier and stuff like that." So Cloud was pretty much doing sign language in order to communicate with him. I said, "They had to throw that in there, huh?"
Yeah, right, bro. It's like the deaf girl in Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2, yeah.
Holy shit.
But go ahead, Christian Phrase. What are you gonna say?
Neozoic has a question. Remnant in the crew, quick question. Which game is the bigger loser or worse? Avengers or S Squad killed the Justice League?
S Squad killed the Justice League.
I'm going with S Squad killed the Justice League.
At least people played Avengers for a while. At least people did play it for a while.
Well, with Suicide Squad, it's based on, apparently to them, it's based on the Arkham lore. So they basically not only made a terrible game, but they also just shit on the whole Arkham series, more or less.
Exactly.
So.
And the Arkham franchise, while it has some comedic lines, it's not a comedy.
And look, you know what gets me about that game more than anything? People, you have like disingenuous people say things like, "Oh, you guys are mad because they killed Batman." Like, no, Batman could die. He just wouldn't die like that, and the Justice League wouldn't act like fucking dickheads and end up in that situation to begin with. It's like the writing is terrible. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Because think about it. You're telling me that this guy who in Arkham Asylum resisted a violent transformation that happened instantly to every other character in the game. He resisted with willpower, fights off an incurable disease, fucking resists enough fear toxin to kill multiple, like 10 men or whatever Scarecrow said, locked up the Joker in his mind. He literally like willpowered through a fucking disease. And you expect me to believe that he would get mind controlled by Brainiac? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
and why the hell would the Justice League just go in there in good faith when his ship is shaped like a fucking skull? Like it's that game is like that game is so bad. Like you could tell it was written by activists. So yeah, like the game like it's both things. The game fucking sucks, and on top of that, it's woke, and on top of that, it's written by activists. Because to me, the way that game was written is a clear sign that it was written by activists that hate men.
Yeah.
It's 100% written by that. Like all the subtext for Harley
or the characters, they hate men, they hate police, and also how they treat the characters.
You have Lex Luthor praising the Amazonian, something Lex would never fucking do. Like I'm like, and then when you see people say, "Oh, it's not woke," I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm like, yeah, your brain must have like slipped out your ears while you were sleeping or something. Because I don't know how the fuck you can't see the forest for the trees, man. Like it's crazy. Like it's crazy, bro. Like. That's why, like, whenever I see comments defending it, I almost like want to laugh at them because it almost makes me like I realize that it's not always disingenuous. I realize that these people just literally are like, I don't know how to put it. Like some people really just don't. They just don't know. They're just taking it at face value because they don't apply critical thought to it. So they're just like, oh yeah, whatever they put out, I accept. Yeah. But back to Final Fantasy because I just want to say this about it. Like.
All right.
Like the other bad thing I don't like, I don't know if you agree with this, Mugen, but I also do not like how they handled a lot of the deaths of the character. Like a lot of, not just the deaths, but like a lot of key scenes were handled so poorly. For anyone who cares, I'm about to go into spoilers and like details. So if you guys don't want to hear spoilers, this is a warning. Having Aerith die and then having Cloud still able to see her after she fucking died was so cheap.
Bro.
It felt so fucking cheap to me. Because
like the fucking to block Sephiroth's sword and shit. It's like
because it was like the creators was in a situation to where they didn't know what is like. They wanted to satisfy everybody. They wanted to give people who want Aerith to die, and they wanted to give the fans who want Aerith to live because. Like I said, we didn't get the iconic scene where Cloud takes her body and drops it into the water. We didn't even get that shit at all. We didn't get that shit at all. And then when we get to the part where Aerith is supposed to die, we don't even see the death. We don't even see the sword go through her. We just see the blood on the sword, and then Sephiroth yanks it out. But then we see a shot of Cloud actually saving her, it was a clusterfuck. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish with that, but it was just horrible. Because dude, I'm not, like I said before, like I'm a fan of the original, and no matter how many times, I don't care how old Final Fantasy VII is, Aerith Death still hits me the same way as when I was a kid in 5th grade playing Final Fantasy VII. I still get watery, like glossy eyes and everything. And even when I got to that scene in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, my eyes was actually watering because I still thinking that they're going to kill her, and now I get to see it in this new, next generation technology, and I'm still prepared for it. Like my eyes is watering. I say, they about to kill my girl. Like no matter what, I'm thinking they're going to kill her, and it's still going to get me, But then when it comes in there, and then when Sephiroth comes down, and I see Cloud block. I'm like, no, they didn't. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then he blocks the sword, but then you turn around, she dies. I'm like, what?
I saw the cutscene, and I saw the cutscene. I'm like, of course.
And yeah, like I wasn't surprised. You know what's crazy about all this, right? Like, like you might disagree with me. You guys might disagree with me, but I feel like if you're doing a remake, I feel like the original creator's vision should supersede what fans theorize and what fans want. Fans wanted Aerith to be alive, but I feel like they should have never even like hinted that she might live. I think that they should have just people need to accept that she died because it's the heart of the story. It's literally the heart of the story. It's like that scene at the end where you see Aerith at the very like final scene is like fucking beautiful. It's like I honestly like, so I remember Mugen, you were on the podcast last time. And we talked about Final Fantasy VII. So I was like, you know what? I have to like play through the game again because I have to like have a fresh perspective as an adult. If I'm going to talk about Rebirth, right, or whatever. I want to have because the last time I had played the game, I was like 12 or something or whatever. So I played through the game again, and I felt so many emotions. I'm thinking, it's a PS1 game. I'm older now. I'm not going to feel anything. And I'm playing it. I'm like, damn, I'm like really invested. And Aerith dying the way she did, getting no closure, no one knowing what the hell happened, why it happened. When you first play through that game and you don't know what's going on with white materia, it is a mystery up until the end, more or less. And when you find out that like she cast Holy, which affected the whole, the whole planet, and how they turned the live stream kind of relates to the crystals, which is like, to tie to Final Fantasy lore, like in other games, and how beautifully it all wraps up. And like the collective, like almost like mirroring like what Jenova is, where Jenova is an amalgamation of like consumed races. The live stream is the opposite. It's the coming together of like souls and like energy and like life and shit like that. So it's like the literal opposite of Jenova. And to see that the collective, live stream, the good in humanity saves them, is a beautiful moment. But if you have, Aerith talking to Cloud every 2 seconds after he dies, if you cheapen her death, if she, what's even crazy, even if she would have died, just the line of her telling Cloud everything's gonna be okay pissed me off. The whole point is that you don't get fucking closure until the end.
And not just that, bro. Even when she died in the original, right? When she died in the original, I remember after you beat Jenova, after Aerith had died, everybody gathers around her body and give their farewells. Like if you had Yuffie would literally like walk over to her body and she run away crying, wiping her eyes. Tifa walks over to her body, crosses her arms, and then pats her on the head, her dead body, her lifeless body on the head, and then Tifa runs off and cry. Like it was that emotional. Everybody was giving their condolences, and then that's when Cloud grabs her and then walks her away and stuff. And then he gets to that scene, he drops in the water. That whole entire segment right there, that shit was just hitting me like a ton of bricks as a kid. And then when we get to Rebirth, none of that is there. None of that is there. Nope. I'm like, what is the purpose of this? Like how
you have a 5-hour boss fight marathon.
And then what about the black materia? And then what about Zack showing up? Why the fuck are you fighting one of Sephiroth's final boss forms in this? And like again, it's because when you chop a game up into 3 games, you need to justify things. Because in the end of the day, fans would have been like, well, imagine a remake. They didn't show Sephiroth at the end, which they shouldn't have. People would say, well, wait a minute. I think, why isn't Sephiroth here or whatever? Because, you're going to have a people who feel like they're entitled to seeing him in the game at the end, right?
Also, too, because this is the thing. When you take a full game like Final Fantasy, and I said this in my video, it was originally a full game. Now, I said, I don't have a problem with games being broken in parts as long as that was the design of the game, like the Dot series.
If it was the intention.
That was designed. The Xenosaga series that was designed to be episodic and stuff like that. But Final Fantasy VII was never designed that way. It was a full experience. Now, if you want to break a game that's a full experience into parts, in order for it to be justified, for it to be broken into parts, the game still needs a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Exactly.
Now, the thing is, the developers, they knew that, yo, we're going to have to put Sephiroth in the first game. They would have to put it in the first game for the simple fact is the game needs to be a beginning, a middle, and an end. And if Final Fantasy VII Remake doesn't do well and they have to cancel the project, can you imagine them scrapping the project and no one ever sees Sephiroth? That's the thing that I believe that they had in their head. That they would have to have him in there as the antagonist, because if the game doesn't do well, at least if the game ends, it ends that our heroes are going off on this unknown adventure, and they can end it right there, and you still was able to fight Sephiroth. You know,
it was trying to cram as much as they can in hopes that and ensure that it sells well.
And also remember, Sephiroth has three main forms that you fight. Right? There's 3 remakes. And the first one you fight base Sephiroth. Now you're fighting his second form. It's like, and you know what's funny? Revenant. You know what's crazy? Not to sound cocky, because it does sound kind of arrogant, but I told Revenant that they were gonna do this shit when they first announced remake. He's probably laughing right now because I told him exactly what the fuck they were gonna do. I didn't know they were gonna fuck up Arif's death that bad, but I knew they were gonna do this shit because it's like you can't take a complete story like this, chop it into 3 games, and then keep the narrative the same.
And bro, the final boss in Rebirth, that shit felt like filler because it was like a boss gauntlet. It was like nonstop bosses because after Arif dies or whatever, you have to fight Jenova. When you first fight Jenova and shit, you destroy the first part. Then what happens is the ground beneath everybody breaks up, and then you get separated into different parts of the final area. So as everybody's falling down, the party breaks up, and then now everybody's broken up into groups of 2. And then you have to fight a segment of Jenova once again. And then once you break that body part, and then it switches over to the next 2 characters, and then you have to fight Jenova on that side, and then you beat that with those 2 characters. Then it switches to the final 2 characters, and then you beat that, and then everybody will fall and hit the ground. Jenova gets back up, and then it does like a switcheroo. It randomizes the party. And of course, Cloud still has to be the leader of the party, but then it throws 2 other characters with Cloud that you didn't have in the party before. That's why it's important to level all your characters up because of this bullshit. Because everybody get mixed up and shit like that. Then you gotta fight Jenova again. After you beat Jenova, Cloud gets separated, and then all of a sudden now you have to fight Sephiroth, but you don't fight Sephiroth by yourself. Zack get into the picture. Now you have to control both Cloud and Zack to fight Sephiroth. And then after you beat Sephiroth Sephiroth like, damn, y'all niggas fucking me up. I'm gonna separate y'all. So he separates Cloud. He separates Cloud and Zack or whatever like that. And Zack says, Cloud, you have to save her. And next thing you know, you play it. Now you have to play as Cloud again. Now Sephiroth turned. Now you have to fight that Sephiroth, that Bizarro Sephiroth form. Now you have to 1v1 that. So now you have to dodge all these like projectiles, and then you have to climb up him, hit him in his forehead. And then the game switches over to Zack. Now Zack is fighting that same form that Cloud was fighting, the Bizarro Sephiroth. Cloud knocks Bizarro Sephiroth into another universe. He knocks him to Zack's universe. Now you have to play Zack in 1v1 Bizarro Sephiroth in that universe. Then after that, Zack knocks him back into where Barrett and them is at. Now you have to go back and play as Barrett and all of them. And then,
oh god,
yeah. And then what he does is he summons Bahamut. Now you have to fight Bahamut while you have to defeat the 2 different wings that the Bizarro Sephiroth has. And then after you defeat that, then you'll fall to another level, and now you have to be Yuffie, Red 13, and Kate Sith, and you have to defeat the wings again. But the wings turn to different elements, so you have to use the opposite element in order to hurt it. Then after you beat that. Then you get to the final segment where you 1v1 Sephiroth, the one-wing angel Sephiroth. But Arif shows up. Arif shows up with Cloud. So now it's Arif and Cloud fighting Sephiroth for the final fight. And guess what? If you lose, you got to do that entire gauntlet again.
Oh yeah, I know. You know what's funny? I saw a Synthetic Man video where he fucked up and he had to do it again. I was like,
that's happened to me.
I left the stream. I was like, I can't watch that shit again.
Weird, like choices, like how to continue, like 4 different choices. I'm like,
Yeah,
the way
and
it's
that's what
worded,
confused
it's like,
me.
how does this make any sense?
And
It doesn't
they're
make any
poorly
sense.
translated. They're poorly translated too.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
they patched it to fix it because it was so bad. When I hit the option, it took me way back to the beginning of the fight, dude. You would have thought I was low tier guy the way I was cussing in the room.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was literally about to take my dual sense control and throw it. That's how
I don't
mad I
blame
was.
you. I
Bro,
don't
it's
blame
fucking
you.
annoying. I heard it was like 2 hours. I heard it was like
Dude,
a 2-hour fight.
It was a
That shit is
2-hour fight.
long.
It was almost a 2-hour fight. I said, yo, that's 2 hours I have to do again.
Yeah, because
But
I saw the fight.
I was able to cut it in half because I knew what to do. I knew the weaknesses. I knew what to attack. So it cut it down by a whole lot or whatever. But the fact I still had to do that shit again. I had to do that whole shit again.
Bro, I saw the fight. I saw as much as the game as I could through streams because I refused to buy it, right? And I also want to be educated on what the game is on. And when I saw that, I was looking at the stream like at the time, and I'm like, yo, it's like legit been 2 fucking hours. Like,
Dude,
this is crazy. Like, I can't imagine like having to sit through this, and especially because it's tedious and repetitive. It's just like fighting the same boss as different characters for the most part.
Imagine playing that on New Game Plus on hard mode. Dude, that's why I don't think I'm able to finish it on hard mode. Because hard mode is hard because you can't use items at all. There's no such thing as items, and you can't. Since you can't use items, that means you can't restore your magic points in hard mode. Because I beat hard mode and remake, that wasn't that bad. But rebirth, fucking ridiculous. I don't think I can make it through it. Because some of these bosses are like sponges, and it's ridiculous.
Real quick, let me answer.
And think about what you explained.
Question real quick.
Yeah,
let me answer this question real quick. Which remake is like worse? I'd probably say 7 because of, they split into 3 games, and then also the way it is now, where you have these like multiverses and shit like that, all this subversion. Where with Resident Evil 3, they cut content which they should not have done at all, but at least it's still like fairly faithful to how things played out in the original.
Exactly.
Yeah, three is mediocre, but it's still more of a true remake than 7 remake is.
Yeah.
Do you know what 7 remake reminds me of? The series. It reminds me of Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, where it's like they just took something so simple and then they just try to turn it into something that it's not. If you ever compare Metal Gear Solid 1 to Twin Snakes, like it's laughable. Like it's ridiculous. Like Snake went from a like more of a grounded badass soldier. He fucking became Neo from the Matrix, like dodging bullets and stuff. It was crazy. I couldn't believe that they went that route. But what you were saying about the game that's crazy is that everything that you explained is fan fiction. Like just be like, it's kind of weird to say it like this, but to me, like Nomura and the people in charge and the creative directors, like despite it being a game made by Square Enix and an official game, it's really fan fiction. It's like Nomura's fan fiction. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't feel like a game. I was just gonna say it doesn't feel like a game made by a company, like by a legit company. It feels like someone's fan fiction.
Because if you think of it, and now the more and more like I sit down on it and think about Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy in general, man, like the game, it's actually it is in a way a sequel. It's not really a remake, it's a reimagine, but at the same time it's a sequel because you still need knowledge of the original game. They tell you that you don't, but no, you still need knowledge of the original game to even understand any of the fucking context that's going on, or able to be able to catch the little things that they snuck in with the narrative and stuff like that. You still need to you still have to go out and pay and play at least some of the compilation in order to be able to catch some of these elements. Because if you're a new person and you going in and never touched Final Fantasy VII, and you go in and you play remake and shit, you ain't gonna have no fucking idea. Because like I said, my brothers and their friends, they never played Final Fantasy VII. And the thing is, they always heard me talk about how much I brag about the original game. And they wanted to actually play the original game. They didn't want to play they didn't like I said, a lot of gamers, especially these new generation of gamers, some of them don't want to play the old ass game. Like I love the original Final Fantasy VII. I don't care how old it is, because I'm a Final Fantasy VII fan and I played it since the very beginning. But a lot of these gamers don't want to play that old ass game. I understand it didn't age well to a lot of gamers and stuff. I understand that. That's why the whole point of the remake was to give us a definitive version and new generation technology and stuff, and able to relive that while adding in, filling in the plot holes and adding in to expand on the lore that's already there. But instead, this game is actually a sequel. The Final Fantasy VII remake, no, the original, still has to exist in order for you to understand anything that's going on. Because when my brother's friends played the remake, and they saw Zach. They said, "Who the fuck is this nigga?" He's wearing the same. He's wearing the Buster Sword like Cloud. He's dressed like Cloud. Who the hell is this guy? Who is he?
Yep.
They have no idea. Now, me who played the original or played the compilation, I know who Zach is. It didn't get me hyped. It just pissed me the fuck off because I know the original story. So the thing is, Final Fantasy VII OG will always like exist. It has
be
to
king.
exist.
It'll be
remake
king.
is not going to replace it. It can't replace it.
Mm-hmm.
It can't.
It's the
can't.
the definitive experience.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, look at a game like Resident Evil 2 remake. You could literally make Resident Evil 2 remake the definitive game if you wanted to. Even though I prefer the original.
Resident Evil 1, the Resident Evil 1 remake is the definitive experience.
Yeah,
you never
exactly.
Have to play the PS1 version ever again.
Yeah,
you never
same with Resident Evil 2. But the different, personally, I prefer the original. But you could play the second game, have better graphics. It's just a superior game overall. Yeah. And never play the original. I mean, they did fuck up Birkin's dog form or whatever. If you play the original, like that eyeball crap wasn't it. That eyeball crap wasn't it. That was ass. But everything else was pretty much good in the remake.
So for the most part,
in my opinion, I think the remake trilogy was never meant to replace the OG because it wasn't trying to be the OG. It's part of the compilation.
They should have never said it was a remake from the beginning, and I think that would have actually helped them save face. I would have still thought the game was dog shit and ignored it, but at least I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't be like, oh well, it's a shit remake because they would have said that it wasn't a remake,
bro.
At least they should have just been honest and transparent with people.
I would have went in with different expectations.
I would have had different expectations.
Different
same here.
Expectations like, okay, I'll see what they're doing here. I'll play it or what like that. Like it's not the original, but then at the same time, even in my video, there were articles where they were saying that the name remake actually has double meaning to it. So they've been putting it out there before the game released that the game has the title remake has more than one meaning to it. He said, but they won't reveal what that means.
But to be fair, that's misleading. I feel like really any way you twist it, because in the end of the day, technically it is a remake. It is, but like you said, despite it being a remake in nature, it's more like a sequel. But in the end of the day, it doesn't matter because they marketed it as a remake and they made people think they were getting one thing and they didn't get it.
Check this out. This what gets me because my brother Keel answered DX Strike. I remember this how they got everybody because when they did their promotion for it, every trailer you saw was everything that we saw in the original game. It wasn't until the final trailer. Yeah. It wasn't until the final trailer all this new shit started just coming up, popping up in the final. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck is this? And my brothers and them were looking at me and said, yo, bro, I saw your whole facial expression change because when they showed the part where Cloud went into we didn't know it was a simulator that they were in, but it was the scene where Cloud and them were all they saw the tornado destroying Midgar, and you see the meteor in the background. And then all of a sudden you see Cloud standing side by side with Sephiroth. I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck is this? So this shit was never in the original, but that was at the very end. That was the very last campaign that they had because they never showed that any other time during the campaign. It was right before the launch of it. That's when they started showing all.
And that's what makes it feel like a bait and switch because that's what it is. It's like, look, I actually don't mind pseudo sequel reboots. What's a good example of it? Doom. Doom 3, Doom 2016, and Doom Eternal are so firstly, Doom 3 and Doom 2016 are basically soft reboots of Doom 1, except that it's a retent. So it's the lore is still there. It's still Doom 1 is still canon, but Doom 3 and Doom 2016 are Doom 1 just done over. Right. And then Doom Eternal is just Doom 2 done over again. Yes, it's a sequel, but it's also like a pseudo remake. Like the modern games are like pseudo remakes of Doom 1 and Doom 2, but they're also sequels. There's a way to do that. And they just failed to do it. Even then, I think just the vision overall was misguided because even a scene that doesn't have any heavier ramifications because it's just meant to be a redoing of an older scene, for example, Dine's death. I found that to be very poorly handled because they took this guy in the original who came across as he had this kind of stoic sadness, almost like a he developed a sociopathy, right? Apathetic, oh, nothing matters anymore. I don't care. I have no Marlene. He came across as more stoic and dark, but then in Rebirth they have him acting like the fucking Joker.
you know, laughing like Brian Fury and acting unhinged.
And he looked like Brian Fury too.
He did, and this guy's acting fucking unhinged, and like. And to me, I'm like, there's no way you could play the original. Like, I don't know about you, but when I played the original, I did not get those vibes from Dine at all. I thought he was much more.
To be honest with you, I didn't get those vibes. The thing is, it like the whole Dine situation. I love the original one better, but at the same time, like I still felt emotional. I'm more so on Barrett's part because like him explaining what happened and seeing what happened and stuff like that, and just seeing Barrett's character and showing his transformation as a character, like knowing the fact is that this dude at one point was a proponent for Mako. You know what I'm saying? He was the one that pushed, you know, to have these reactors just for this shit to just flip on his head, and he was the cause, or he take part of the blame for it and stuff. And him explaining it to everybody. That's the thing that I think that really hit me the most. And so when he did meet the whole Dying or whatever like that, yeah, Dying like it was kind of like unhinged and stuff like that. I wasn't really expecting it from like how it was in the original, but just seeing like Barrett's arc when it came to that, man, I think it really got me the most. That's why I still liked it.
And I raise you this
the original, but it still hit me in a way.
I raise you this though, because I don't disagree with you. I think Barrett is one of the better parts of Rebirth and Remake. I think they could have done all of that and still had Dine be portrayed better. Because Dine's characterization is not because of the plot demanding him to be like that. It was an interpretation of what he was in the original. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like Barrett could have been portrayed the same way, because I actually agree with you. I think Barrett's one of the best characters in Final Fantasy VII. I actually think he's pretty much underrated, honestly, because his story arc is fucking sad as hell. But you know, to have this character, like, I just feel like the emotional weight was gone because he was acting like the Joker, basically. I mean, not literally a Joker, but like, like that personal, like, sadness. It's not like a loud, and then his death of falling into the hole, instead of falling back, like, to me, like, that death was more symbolic because he literally fell into darkness and like, you know, was consumed by darkness. He fell into a hole. He drifted into darkness and never returned. And you take that out to put like more of like this edgy death scene. And I'm like, it sounds fucked up because I don't dislike him no more on a personal level, but it makes me feel like as a creative director, he's a hack. It just makes me feel like he's a hack.
Yeah. He's Zack Snyder at this point for me.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, like, that he only really understands it. He only understands it at a surface level. That's what it felt like for me. Yeah, but you know, because look, here's the thing about Zack Snyder. I want to say that I find like hilarious because sometimes I defend, like, Zack Snyder is one of those people where I can defend him sometimes, but other times I'm like, who the fuck does this guy think he is saying dumb shit? Because on one hand, his characterization of Batman, like the way he moves, fights, you know, looks, the way the scenes are shot, is like 100% to me the best version of how to portray Batman. But then from a narrative reason, he's having him fucking kill people and do all this dumb shit. And I'm like, bro, how can you get something so right and at the same time it's so fucking wrong? Like,
bro.
We get into the topics real quick. We did talk a little bit about Cellblade, but I'm waiting to see if a few other people are going to join before we get into that. So in the meantime, we can talk about the rumor that's going around about the Watch Dogs series being shelved, possibly permanently, due to the low sales, particularly with Legion, and obviously Watch Dogs 2 didn't do all that well. I believe Watch Dogs 1 did pretty good, but obviously that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So, but I don't know if any of you guys have. What was that?
I think it's dog shit.
To Watch Dogs. Like like I said, I do not care about Ubisoft games. My brother had the first game, but I don't know anything else outside of the first game. So I had no idea that was happening.
The best things they made were Splinter Cell and
Splinter Cell. I agree.
And Rayman, that's it. I liked Assassin's Creed up until the end of 2 with Revelations. Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed fucked up because they decided to ruin the
that they had to try to make cash in yearly games. So instead of doing a game with a series with a beginning and end that was going somewhere, they said, fuck Desmond, we're going to kill him off so that we could pump out infinite Assassin's Creed games. But the cost of that is that you have generic forgettable games that are filled with like, you know, Ubisoft mechanics like we talked about before. So basically, fuck Ubisoft. Watch Dogs 2 and Legion are Ubisoft games. They might as well be extensions of Assassin's Creed's game design and whatever. Like their only hope is to bring back Splinter Cell, but because it's Ubisoft and, you know, France and Canada, they're gonna do some woke garbage with it until proven otherwise. If they don't, I'll admit it. But so even then, I don't even want them to bring it back because they'll fuck it up.
Well, to my understanding, I think the Watch Dogs series was made by the same team that did the Splinter Cell games. Or at least I think most of them. I don't know if they split anyone up or anything like that, but that's what I heard. At least as far as Legion is concerned, well, I don't know if they had different teams for each game. I don't think so. But so I'm assuming neither one of you guys have any attachment to the Watch Dogs series, right?
No attachment.
No. The only game that I thought was cool was the first one. Just the first one. The first one was decent. It had potential, but like always, you know, they dropped the ball. And
I never finished it because
it's not.
Again, it felt like a Ubisoft game, and also. I don't know if you guys ever saw the E3.
Yeah, the original trailer. I'm about to mention that.
Yeah, the grade.
It looked nothing like the original, like what we saw at E3.
I think that turned a lot of people off. And then on top of it, people on PC found that the settings were even there, and it's like, what was it called, like console parity at the time. So it's crazy because it's like you downgrade the game on consoles. But then you also downgrade on PC for people who can actually play the game the way it really was intended to be played. So
they try to hide it
from the start.
Well, it wasn't. It wasn't that they were.
Did that with the Division when they first showed it off, and we know
I remember that
how that ended up turning out. And Ghost Recon Wildlands when they first showed it off, and then when you get the actual game, it's like nothing like it at all. Or actually, no, I'm sorry.
But the thing is,
they showed it all. They would show off these games, and then they would go like a year or so without showing anything, and the next time you see it, it's like downgraded to what it was originally supposed to be, or at least how it was presented. So I think that's what really fucked over the series, where it never really got off the ground for a lot of people who actually wanted to play it and enjoy it, because they just they
were lied to.
Again, they downgraded the first one, they lied to them, and I think they never really fully utilized the hacking gimmick that they had going on. So it just felt like any other Ubisoft game. You just mess with the lights or open a door.
I'm gonna be real with you. The first game is not bad. Is it my favorite game? No, but I don't think it's bad. I think that it had a story. It had a distinct personality. It was definitely going somewhere. And like Assassin's Creed, they dropped the ball because they got scared, went a different direction, created inconsistency, and they took a game that failed. They could have had a better sequel that could have saved it, and they made something that tried to appeal to everyone, appeal to no one. The same old story. And it's just like it's just one of those games that has one good game in the series, and even that's a 50-50 for most people. And they just dropped the ball. And I think that also I'm talking about like the game not looking like what it did before. It's because they have to hide it on PC because they don't want console gamers to feel like they're cheated, but they underestimated how smart PC gamers are because they're going to find that shit. You get what I'm saying? So it's like they just try to hide it. It's like if the game is watered down and sucks for everyone, then at least we're being consistent, but then they're a fucking liar. So it's one of those things, it's like censorship, right? Like they could say like, oh, well, if Stellar Blade releases worldwide and it's censored worldwide, it's still censored. Just because it's universally censored doesn't mean that it's as intended. So I look at it the same way. Like if they degrade it so that console and PC gamers have the same experience, it's still a lie. And I don't even know how they thought they would get away with that. Like PC gamers are super savvy. Like there was no way in hell they were going to get away with it. I don't know why they even bothered doing that. It would have been actually helped them save face if they would have just said that the PlayStation couldn't handle it and the PC they had to use the PC version.
And later,
it would have been, at least it would have been honest. And I think a lot of console gamers will accept that.
Yeah. What's up, Melina Chan?
Hey everyone. Hey guys. How y'all doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Chilling.
Good. Oh, it's so nice to meet you. I hope. Forgive me. My allergies, so I feel a little sick. So my words are gonna be more worse than it was last time.
You're good. You're good.
Lord.
Yep.
Is
Oh,
it pronounced?
nice to
Oh,
meet you.
nice to meet you. I had got into your content too. I really enjoy it as well, especially your Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth video. I
Oh,
really
thanks.
enjoy that one. Yes, you're welcome. Okay. But I'm sorry, I'm super duper late. I'm just coming in. I don't know what y'all talking about.
Oh no, it's all good. Appreciate you joining.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem.
We got to the we were talking a little bit about Stellar Blade, but I wanted to wait till more people.
I don't think Dan is gonna show up. So
I haven't heard back from him yet, and I sent him the link like basically when I was originally sending out links. So I haven't heard back from him yet, and it's been over an hour. So
for context, I wanted him to come in because I prefer debating things live or like talking about them live, and he is one of those people that was saying, what I was saying before about the censorship and how like people should just shut up and just enjoy the game whatever. So I wanted him to come on because I feel like if you believe in something, you should be able to defend it real time. That's I don't know. That's how I look at things.
Right.
So. I hope he had came on. I was hoping it would be like a debate. We're not gonna gang up on nobody. So. I was hoping he would like talk and give his point because I also like for people who are watching to see an alternate perspective, and I feel like it's important for people to see both sides of things and both perceptions so that they can make their own opinion and decide for themselves what they want. So I don't know, whatever.
Well, what was his point? He was saying for everybody just to shut up about the censorship.
It's like like that mentality of the game still has sexy women in it, so just shut up. I don't know why all these people are complaining or whatever. So I'm like, I wanted him to come on and discuss it live because if you're gonna say that, that's like, I mean, like I'm not gonna down talk him because he's not here, but if you're gonna say that, I feel like you should be able to defend that argument.
Yeah, I would have loved to hear his point.
Yeah, I mean, well, I sent him the link. He can join whenever he gets it. I mean, whenever he sees it, because I know it went through. But before we talk about Stellar Blade, because we'll get into that anyway. And Christian Frades, I know he had played a game, so if he wants to give his impressions on it, if he wants to come back, I think he was having internet issues, because StreamYards and shit like that. But anyway, Melina Chan, before we move on to Stellar Blade, are you familiar with the Watch Dogs series?
It's been a long time, so it's a little vague / not too familiar with it now. Yeah.
That says all you need to know. It was forgettable. Right?
Yeah, it was forgettable. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, there's a rumor going around that Ubisoft is going to permanently stop the series and have the team work on something else due to low sales for the series, especially with Watch Dogs Legion, which was the last one. I think it came out 2020, 21 or something. And that didn't do too well. They canceled a bunch of DLC.
Bro,
they had multiplayer planned for it. Yeah, so
damn, that game they really hyped up those trailers, bro. And then when you actually look at the game like and play, I never played it myself, but I saw gameplay. I'm like, this shit was a total lie. When you play it, it is like generic fodder. Like I don't know.
Wasn't the recent Watch Dogs where he was able to like be a granny and
yeah. You can be NPC. I think they use like AI to like generate like different like tones of voices. But
it looks cool. It looks cool. It seems cool, but when you play it, it's shit.
Yeah, the execution is bad. It's just not. Yeah. It's not well executed, and it's like kind of like that's kind of like the whole like damn, what's the fucking word I'm thinking of? Like that's the whole like story with this series. Like the ideas are good, but the execution is just like not there. For whatever reason, because you would figure like this is like a large ass company, one of the biggest companies in the gaming industry, and they can't get like this hacking gimmick right, like or even whatever else they want to tie into it, where you can play as literal NPCs as this like revolution in a dystopian like future London,
and it's buggy as hell. and it's very
like
buggy.
I said before, I was never a fan of Ubisoft, so I never really cared for any of their games. I never cared. That's why I'm like,
I used to be a fan, and I don't care. So I'm with you. I said I don't care now. So that shows you how far they've fallen. There was a time where I was like, oh, Assassin's Creed Revelations, let's fucking go. Once 3 came out, and then they kept going, I was like, all right. I think this is the end. This might have been the final chapter, you know?
Yeah.
I like Far Cry.
Oh, Far Cry. Yeah. Actually, I do like Far Cry. Actually,
I couldn't get into 3. I found 3 I just found it kind of boring. I tried to get into 3, and I think it was 4.
I like 5. I like 5, and then like 6 came out, and I saw how they were marketing the game, and I was like, all right, I know what I know what you're catering to. I know what the pandering is gonna be. I'm like, nah. Y'all can miss me with this one. Like, I'm good.
They said they were going to make another one with Cecilian Murphy as the main baddie.
Oh yeah. Maybe he'll do his Scarecrow impression.
The only Ubisoft game that was good was they had a Naruto fighting game on the Xbox 360.
Oh, was it? It wasn't Ultimate Ninja,
Bond,
right?
Was it something Bonds or whatever?
Yeah, it's something Bonds because you was able to. It was like an RPG / fighting game.
Yeah.
It was
okay.
Awesome. It was and that was by Ubisoft. I don't know how the fuck they pulled that off, but it was on the Xbox 360, like the early Xbox 360 years, and that was.
I heard that one was good too.
Yeah,
was it them that did they make the game or just publish it?
No, that was there. I believe that was their game. I believe.
Okay.
We never saw a sequel to it or anything
because it was good.
Damn,
it was good. That's why.
Or anything.
We live in bizarre world. They make something good, they leave it dead forever. But you'll get Assassin's Creed every year though.
Yep. I had the first Assassin's Creed game, which I really liked, and I had the first Splinter Cell game, and I had, of course, Rayman 1, and then I think I had Rayman 2 on Dreamcast.
Rayman 1 was the best one in my opinion, honestly. I really I think that was like the best one. It just had like such a cool like art style, and like the music was iconic, and it was like a modern Mario at the time. It's like they made like a new Sonic the Hedgehog, a new Mario. I thought it was really cool. And then they I thought he would become like the PlayStation mascot, you know, because he had Crash, but whatever. I mean, some of the other games are good though. I won't shit on them, but the first one was the best one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just talk
that out the way. We can
let's get to Stellar Blade.
We can get Stellar Blade. Then after that, we can talk about the Eiyuden Chronicle localization. Because someone had sent me actually gave me some additional information about 2 people in particular that we were talking about it. But I'll get to that once we get to that topic. So Stellar Blade, first impressions, and of course we're going to talk about the censorship, since that's no longer really like a speculation, it's actually true. So
hold on, before we get into it, let me just respond to one comment. Joshua, Black Flag is fine, but that game was really grindy and it made me stop caring. So
I kind of felt the same way.
Yeah, I just want to say that because I saw one of the comments like
pretty good.
It was fun. I just found it too it was so grindy that I stopped caring. And the story, I didn't want to do like a crazy ass grind to get to the next slitter of story. So I was like, nope, that's the end for me. But anyway, yeah. So moving on, just wanted to get to that.
I know I played it. I know I talked to you, Jim. I mean, you streamed it yesterday. I was watching your stream. So I know we both played it. Mutant Lord, I know you had mentioned earlier you had got a chance to play it a little bit today, right?
Yeah. I just got to was it Zion, and I just got her gun, the drone gun, and
okay. So
I have to go to the wastelands. That's before I got one to this stream. So that's where I'm at right now.
You're actually calling to me.
Yeah. I'm still
Melina Chan, have you played it?
No, I don't have it just yet. I'm gonna be late to the party.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Well,
but she's seen some of it in my stream, from what I remember, actually.
And neither of us have obviously beaten the game, so we're not going to really spoil anything. So, where I'm at, what the fuck is that boss? It's like right once you it looks like it has a tire on his head, but you see like a one of the pods. God, what the fuck the place is called? It's right after you get past like that sewer area where you have to like get turn the switches for the water and all that.
Oh yeah, so
basically right before Zion for everyone who played the game.
Yeah, so I actually was playing that earlier this morning. So obviously I stopped because
Yeah, well, you're right behind me. You're right behind me. After you beat that part, you'll be where I'm at.
Okay, cool.
And I'm like slightly ahead of you, Mugen, because I'm in the wasteland now, so I'm like a slither ahead of you. So we're all like,
we all close together,
like right neck and neck.
Yeah,
dude, like you're literally behind me. Once you beat that boss, you're right there where I'm at.
All right, cool.
Yeah. And you guys are gonna like the wasteland. The wasteland is beautiful. That's one of like the best wasteland environments I've seen. It's nothing special, but just like the color like from an artistic perspective, I really like the color saturation and stuff like that. Yeah, looks good.
Nice. What was I gonna say? I want to try to explain for people if they want to play the game uncensored. First, you have to go into your settings and turn off your internet connection, and make sure you do that all the time when you're playing the game. Otherwise, it's gonna automatically update the day one patch. So, and you want to make sure the version you're playing. So when you click when you press the start button or whatever the fuck they call it on PS5,
basically just download the game offline. Disconnect, download it offline. Once it installs, you can go online if you want to. You can go online if you want to stream it or something. If not, you just stay offline. The second you go online, it's going to try to update, so you have to cancel the update. But if you don't cancel the update, and if you cancel the update and close the game while the connection's on, it won't let you play until you download the update again. So you have to make sure that every time you boot up the game, the connection is off. And, it's a lot of gymnastics.
The version
it's a lot of gymnastics.
Is the version that you want, which is 1.00
1.0 just 1.0
3 additional zeros after that, so make sure there's no like 1002 or whatever the fuck, like 1, and then you'll just see a bunch of zeros.
Just the base game is going to literally say version 1 and there'll be a bunch of zeros. That's it. But again, it's a lot of gymnastics. If you don't want to do it, it's totally understandable, but just for anyone wondering,
I ain't going through it because people was telling me, just you got to do it. Man, I ain't going through all that.
But you know what?
I don't blame you.
You know what though? I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think that the game's harder without the update anyway, because they took out because they actually made balance adjustments. So it's complete, it's playable, but it's slightly harder. But here's the thing, I'm even debating if they didn't censor it before the disc. I'm starting to think they might have only taken out the hard art thing with the update, because I was looking at some of the costumes that they showed like during one of the cutscenes, and I have the costume now, and it looks like it has like pantyhose on it, while the little video clip shows like, obviously the legs are nude. So to me, like I'm actually starting to think that the base disc version of the game is still censored. I can't confirm this yet, and so I play a little bit ahead, but that's like my current belief is that it might be the same. I'm not sure.
I'm hearing
they also removed the gore that was present in the trailers and the demo, so they probably did that before even the day one patch.
But I'm also hearing conflicting news that New Game Plus, that it has the uncensored costumes, like variations or something like that. I'm hearing all this conflicting news. I'm hearing it's too much conflicting news surrounding this.
Yeah, there's too much. And but one thing is for sure, it's censored. And again, like, it's conflicting information. So from when I was playing offline, the hard R shit was still there. And by the way, anybody who took that, like, and was like, anyone who sees that and immediately thought racism is racist themselves.
But this is the thing. Dude, like playing that game, I would have walked right by and not even noticed it. Like you really had to sit there and analyze everything. Like, dude. Why was who would look at a graffiti and then look at the art that's right there and put that together? I don't know, man. Like you had them in reaching or looking to be offended by something. I don't get it.
I think journalists brought that up.
Yeah, they did.
I think the journalists were looking for shit, and when they're digging, when you look for shit, you'll find shit, right?
Yeah.
And people were even saying that, well, they censored it anyway before then, and I'm like, that's kind of weird because it's too much of a coincidence that on the same day you're seeing a bunch of the same articles, the same posts from journalists about it, and then they so happen to remove it. So I just find that really odd. So to me, I'm not buying that they were going to remove it anyway. I think it has to do with the people who got the review codes early to review it. and we're just pointing it out, and it was probably an easy fix for them to change it. And they changed it now to crimer, which apparently is like a slang for an
Bro,
African American who's committing a crime.
No matter what, they're gonna find a reason to try to be mad about something.
Yeah.
That shit was disingenuous.
That was coming. We saw
it was
coming.
Yeah, it was disingenuous
right from the start. Yep.
And like this, the you know what's funny? Even the review scores, like they're giving it like a 7 and a 6 because they can't say it's bad because the game's not bad. So they're like trying to act like they're neutral and they're being like whatever. But like those scores are like even the scores I saw are way too low for that game. Like they were like insane. It was insane. I mean, it's their opinion, but at the same time, it's like Kotaku and IGN and shit. So come on, like.
It's like GameSpot editor is like talking shit or whatever.
And Silverfang, in reference to your comment, like you can play the game without the patch, but I'm still hit or miss on whether it's actually censored or not because until I unlock the bunny suit myself and actually see it, I'm not sure that it's actually uncensored. I can't say that I know it's uncensored because it has the hard art thing, but I can't confirm that the
outfits.
The outfits are not changed from the base game because I haven't unlocked the bunny suit or whatever. I have to actually see for myself. And so far, some of the costumes look kind of sus because I saw one, like I said, they had like the nude legs. And then in the game, when I unlocked it, it had pantyhose on. It's like, so I don't know if it's the same costume or whatever. I have to play more to like really give like a honest and definitive thing. So for now, it's partially uncensored. That's for sure.
Yeah. And my whole thing is like people are like trying to justify it being like oh, it's not a big deal, it's just minor, or oh well, they covered up, but then she also has her bikini or where she's almost naked and all sort of shit. Then people are even saying, oh well, they didn't censor the skin suit. I'm like, the skin suit is not the same as the other ones, and also it's not as revealing as you think it is.
And you know what though?
The other outfits. It's
not even about that. It's like not people are making it like a thing where like, oh, if you want to watch porn, just watch porn, all this shit. It's not even about that. It's so fucking stupid. I agree, Mugen. And like my point with it is that it's about them censoring the game after they promised that it would be uncensored. I'm not going to blame it entirely on the Shift Up CEO because I know it's likely with Sony. But at the same time, the game was censored. People should not telling other people to shut up and just accept whatever these companies do. To me, is like, excuse my language, it's a bitch ass take. To me, that's really some bitch ass shit to do. If you don't like something, you should speak up. It's your right to do it. People talk about, you have like X and like whatever forums, Reddit. These forums are literally created to give your opinion. When people say like when they try to shut other people up, it pisses me off because I'm like, dude, you're on a site that is entirely consisting of people giving their opinions. Yep. That's what it is. That's what the site literally is. So if you're on there, you have to accept that people are not going to shut up just because you like something.
Real
if
quick,
you like it, good for you.
Let me answer Neil Zolk real quick. I do think that the outrage and all that was planned by the journalists because, again, like they've been going after this game once it started getting traction for, obviously having aesthetically pleasing characters, unlike most of the games now, and it looked like it wasn't going to be censored. So this is a whole, like, what's the word? Like, they were putting out hit pieces before the game even came out. So no doubt they're going to do that before launch, once it launches, and even afterwards. Like, this could probably be going on like for the rest of the year.
Plus Zion is full of black characters as well. Seems kind of weird for a company that's going to put hard R is going to have a bunch of black characters walking around in that same environment. Like it's an ass pull. These people are disingenuous. Like honestly, it's one of those things where like everybody knows that with these journalists, the dice are loaded and they're pretending like that, like they're not biased and they're not going to like fucking purposely pull all this shit out their ass. Like, come on, man. We all knew from day one. Everyone who with a brain knew that from day one they were going to try to give it low scores or as low as they can get away with. They can't call it an outright bad game. So they're saying, well, the game's a 7 because it's a good game, but we don't like the sex appeal, so that's why it's not a 9 or a 10. That's basically their justification and their way of trying to diminish the perception of the game.
It's called Mockingbird Media, where the media are all in sync together and they push the same message. Yep. And when they push the same message, normies would go in and think, oh, if they're all saying it, then this obviously is true. We see it in politics and everything, and they're doing the same thing here when it comes to gaming. I even said it before even the game came out. I said, be prepared when the embargo get lifted for the reviews. Expect a script from all the media, everybody's gonna be in sync. You're gonna hear the same message. Like they
Mhm.
already had this planned out. They all
Yeah.
have a
Yep.
script ready
Yeah.
for when this game launches, and I saw this coming. So this is no surprise at all. Now the thing is, people, as I'm digging around, people saying that this is not different for Shift Up because they had also censored what's it, Night Nikkei, the goddess of victory.
Yeah.
Did that in Destiny Child. That was also censored, and they were saying that Shift Up even came out and said, "Oh, we didn't, we're not going to censor the game." And then once the West got it, and they noticed that, wait a minute, like, y'all removed this, but everybody on the East got this version, but we got a different version. What's going on here? So a lot of people saying like, hey, this like no, like why did nobody like not is acting like this is a new thing, but they have a history of doing this before. So I don't know, man.
That's news to me as far because I don't play mobile games like that.
I don't play mobile games either. This is everything I'm explaining right now, and this is for my video for Monday or whatever like that. Yeah, so
spoilers.
They have a history. Yeah, they have a history of this. They have a history of this before, and a lot of people saying the excuse is because China or whatever like that. I think for the Goddess Nikkei, or I think it's for Destiny Child, is one of them. That China and their government had a lot to do with the censoring with that, but we want to wait and see. But they have a history of this before.
But you know why I don't give them that much slack over this? Because like these companies at the same time, like you're making a massive investment in a game, right? So all right, so Mugen, me and you are both creators, right? Wouldn't you rather have your specific following pay for your games, love your games, give you money, even if that means that, like, let's say like woke people might hate it or whatever? You care more about putting out your vision for your fans. These companies, they're like, well, we need to get the China market, so we'll do whatever it takes to get the game in China. We need the Saudi Arabia market, so we'll do whatever we need to get to get the game in Saudi Arabia. And unfortunately, the only way that things will change is if they say, no, you're not getting our game because we're not censoring shit. That's going to make the people in those countries push and want it. But because they're greedy fucks, I'm sorry, I like Shift Up, but they're greedy. I like the game, but because they're greedy fucks, they say, nope, we got to have the worldwide market. So we're going to compromise. So in the end of the day, I don't forgive them. I don't absolve them. Because
their biggest problem, they shouldn't have signed a contract with Sony to begin with.
Yes,
I remember
exactly.
I made a video talking about that, and I was like, I'm kind of worried if for censorship with this whole Sony thing. I had people in the comment section like, dude, what the fuck you talking about? They made Goddess Nikkei, this, that, and the third. Like they ain't censoring anything. And look where we at right now.
They're compromised.
But
everybody's compromised for a price.
Melina, there's a comment asking if your thoughts on all this stuff.
Oh, before you read it, you see his picture? You see his picture, right? Your brother's soul is mine. All right, yeah, you can read the comment now. All right, you can read it now. I'm sorry. I love that movie.
Oh, me too. That was a very good impression.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. What? Oh, do I read it out or?
I mean, you can just respond to it. I mean, you can read it out if you want, whatever,
Okay.
works for you.
Okay. Thank you for your question, Joshua. What I think about the controversy. Here we go. The controversy of the censoring of the female. I find excuse my language because I didn't excuse it the last time. It's bullshit. It's stupid because I mean it's like everyone's acting like they never seen, or it's a taboo to see a female's body, like a woman's body. Like it's not anything new. It's no different from a man. It's just the body parts are different. But I mean, I don't know why everybody's so ashamed to see it like on the big screen, but behind closed doors you'll see it in the corn. You've seen corn of it, so why is it different seeing it like on screen? Especially since as an artist, back in those day and age, nudity is an art category, and it's and it's not. Did anybody say anything about that? Like the Greek statues where you see men's peens and women's breasts on display? No, because it was seen as art. So why can't this too also be seen as art? It just has to take for that she has to be beautiful and voluptuous for it to be oh no, nobody wants to see this. We can't see this. It's too vulgar. But if we have Abby, then that's, oh yeah, we can see that. And then and not only that, even though I think they show a little bit of nip from her. I mean him.
Him.
like not only that, but she got
Big
her
Papa
back.
Pump.
Yes, yes, and she got her back blown out from behind. But like with Eve, and I mentioned this in Jinpachi's stream last night. Like, she doesn't even have like the personality of like Bayonetta or like Melina, where she's like very clearly very comfortable in her sexuality and expresses that. She doesn't even have that. Like, she's pretty, well collected. Some may say bland, but
kind of like
she doesn't.
2B in Nier Automata.
She's elegant.
Yes,
she carries herself in an elegant manner.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. And that, you can cross that out. And all she has is just a beautiful body and a beautiful face. And she displays everything that I'm pretty sure everybody would want. Again, like I said in the last stream, like when it comes to women, sexy female characters, I don't mind it at all, because in a way that's a way of empowerment, instead of her having to be so masculine and have a masculine body as well to boot with that, like, as long as she is still a really good character, she adds to the story, especially if she's the lead, and as well as she has great fits to boot. Outfits. And that she can kick ass. Then that's all I can ask for. Like, I don't want anything more, anything less. Like, I just find that it's BS. Like, the sensory is ridiculous. And definitely, like with what you guys had said earlier, they're all in on it. Like, they planned this out from the beginning, because I feel like they definitely did this because they know there's going to get a rise out of people that are going to be bothered by it. Like, honestly, I feel like in a way it's a scam, because I want a Stellar Blade where it's uncensored. They have it, but we can't. I feel like I'm getting gypped in a way, because why can't I get the full package?
Agreed.
Exactly.
And you know what? And most importantly, the game is actually a good game and fun. Because remember, the narrative has shifted over the course of this game being announced to where it came out. First, it was the game's just sex appeal. It's gonna be some lazy crap, no story. Turned out that was false. Turned out it had like a pretty interesting story with depth. Then they said Eve was going to act like some Bayonetta ass character. Turns out that she's not that there's anything wrong with Bayonetta, by the way. I like Bayonetta, but anyway, she acts like in a much more elegant and sophisticated way, which I actually like about the character. It helps her stand out.
I would like to add to that real quick, because you mentioned that last night, and thank you for bringing that up again, because that's basically how people see pretty girls, like Megan Fox, like women like her, or even like me. When it comes to, people may think that, because I'm pretty, or like she's pretty, she has no substance. Like, first, what they usually say, the stereotype is she's a dumb blondie, she's pretty, but she's
Kelly Bundy. I don't know if you know Kelly Bundy is, but
yes, like like someone like that, and she just all for looks. All she could do, like, she'll get far with her looks, And I like how the game, a lot of people are putting that same narrative towards the video game, like, oh, Eve, she wouldn't have no character towards her. She, like, the story isn't going to be all great. It's just going to be just for show. It's just going to be for fan service, but it's actually much more than that. And now what else are you going to pull out of your sleeve, like, excuse my French again, reach up in your ass to pull as a reason to continue to hate this game?
Well,
when there really isn't any.
keep in mind what we're seeing now, where this game has been basically they've been proven wrong at every turn and corner. You know, it's basically a cope. It's like a woman's prettier than me, then she must be dumb. Or it's like bitch ass men do the same shit. This guy is athletic and strong. He must be dumb. He must be whatever. Guess what? That guy could be a fucking millionaire genius and be jacked. And you just have to take the L and just work on yourself. Like, that's reality. That's life. But people are so committed to maintaining their lie that anything that interrupts that, whether it be a movie character, a comic book character, you know, an industry like the modeling industry or whatever it may be, if it interrupts their lie, they're going to go crazy trying to do anything they can to defend it or tear down the thing that makes them reflect on who they are. That's how I always look at those people. So, you know, with the game journals and, you know, and the funny thing is like, because I know I've heard Mugen talk about it before in some of his streams, it's like this is such a multi-layered issue that goes so deep. It goes beyond gaming. It goes into like Western society, how they change the dynamics between men and women, all kinds of, there's so many layers to this that's why when people say, oh, just shut up, it's just censorship, I'm like, no, fuck you, I'm gonna call it out because it's my duty to call it out. It might sound cocky, it might sound pretentious, but as people with brains, it's our responsibility to speak up when we see something that's wrong or false. You can't let lies win. The truth is supposed to win in the end. So trying to tear down women like yourself or beautiful women or whatever because it hurts their feelings is unacceptable and it shouldn't be tolerated. And I think it's important that people speak out on it. When people say things like, oh, you just like porn or whatever, people have to say, no, you're wrong. What you're saying is fucking stupid. Here's why. And guess what? Other people are going to click on that post. Other people are going to hear you talk about it. They're going to agree and they're going to be better equipped to handle those people when they come across them. That's why you can't let this shit like slide, you know?
Right. And it's like coming back and saying, because I'll be dead wrong. I'll be mean. I'll be hateful. Because I already know, like, if there anybody that's come across, they'll likely say that, what's the terms that they will say? That I'm a woman hater or a pick-me. I'm not either of those things. I'm just all about truth. And I'm just calling out for what it is because I don't see nobody else speaking up on it. That's why I want to give my perspective because even though I haven't met any other women, but I'm pretty sure they do exist. So that aren't for this whole woke stuff because I don't want to see my representation being masculinized. Like I don't want to be poorly misrepresented. It's wrong. It's just wrong. It's weird. Yeah. Like it's just so much. But it's the weird. Best way I can say yes, and I'd be wrong to say like, okay, how about this? Since you find that pretty people, handsome people, men and women, that you find that they don't have anything else to them but their looks, okay, even though why not do both? There's a such thing as duality. I'll be dead wrong if I come back and say, well, you're not the best looking, you're ugly, so all you have to use is that you're smart. I'll be wrong if I say that. So it's like the pretty people have to take the hit, and we, you know, that they can't say anything because, oh, you're blessed, you're pretty, you're able to get far in life because you're good looking, and you know you can't be smart or victim you don't mentality. Have to be smart. Yeah, victim. That's exactly what it is. Like you don't have to do anything. You can just be on your back and you'll get far in life. You'll get that job position. Me, on the other hand, I'm not so good looking, so I actually have to use my intellect. I actually have to use my intelligence, which is something that you don't have. Like, okay, then you're no better than a mean girl. You're still a mean girl. You're still a bully at the end of the day. It doesn't change that fact. You're just insecure because of how you feel about yourself or your outer appearance. And that's okay, but don't infiltrate other spaces to show how butthurt or upset that you are, you know, like it's just, I just find it very stupid. It's very hypocritical. It is. You know, I would be wrong to do that, you know, so, but I don't know why you would want to be masculated. I don't know why you want to look like you're the man and that you have power over men. Men are going to be men. Why would you want to have the physique? Why you want to have the characteristics? Why do you want to switch the roles and then have the men be feminine? Like I would want a masculine man, you know, or man, you know. I think like,
that's most women. Most women want that.
Yes, I don't understand where these women are coming from. And I know the thing is that They're not. They don't actually live these lives in real life. They don't.
Well,
It's just a
remember,
fantasy.
every person has gifts, right? Some people have natural aptitude for learning that's higher than somebody else. Some people are better looking. The beauty or whatever, or some people build muscle easier and other people have a harder time losing fat. But here's the thing, every human has the ability to make themselves better, to work on their weaknesses and make up for what they lack. There's not a single person on earth who's not lacking in one area. Nobody's literally perfect, right? So, that victim mentality of like, oh, poor me, I was everything's hard because I'm black, or everything's hard because I'm a woman, or men ruin everything. Once you start giving away your power like that, you're destined to be a victim forever. That's why DEI and a lot of this ESG shit at its heart is a broken and weak mentality, because you're trying to convince everyone that ugliness and weakness is good, but in practice it fails. It falls under any pressure. So instead of trying to become stronger, these people try to convince people to allow them into spaces that don't have the merit they haven't earned, or they don't have the merit to enter into, right? So you have activist writers, people that aren't good writers, and they end up in positions with multi-million-dollar companies writing these stories, right? Because they convince them that they need this DEI in their game or whatever. Or you have ugly women or whatever, or generally considered unattractive women or unattractive men trying to convince everyone else that why they should be attracted to them. But again, in the end of the day, or what they look like with their projections, with how they want to force characters like Abby and shit into games, trans shit into games or whatever. But they have to understand that attraction is not negotiable. It's not negotiable. It's a biological thing. It's it's a inherent thing that we all have inside us, and we all have to choose for ourselves. You're not going to convince anyone that being obese is good because you yourself are obese. You get what I'm saying? It does basically what I'm saying. It doesn't matter what specific identity bullshit you try to pull. It's never going to make you better. You can convince everyone else, but deep down, it's still going to be a lie, which is why a lot of this DI shit, ESG shit, BlackRock push shit has to be fought back on. And like, I'm rounding back to what I said before, people need to speak up. Whether it comes to censorship, whether it comes to, egregious business practices like microtransactions and just consumer things that are unfriendly to the consumer, whatever it may be, it has to be spoken out against, because turning your brain off and just trying to go with the flow is not going to make it go away, and it actually is going to make it worse. And as far as like toxic masculinity goes, like, these women like to say that, and they like to say that, but then they want to adopt those toxic traits. You get what I'm saying? So I'm like, why the fuck would you you're talking about how bad it is, how men are bad, but then you want to act like a man. So really what you're saying is you see men as powerful and you want to take that role. So you're going to try to force yourself into that role by calling what the thing you want to be bad.
But they're the better man. They want to be the better man.
And the reason I'm not on camera, the reason why I'm not on camera is because I don't have like a nice background setup like Mugen does. So I'd rather just have this, whatever. I got my cute little portrait. I got my cute little picture of me with my nice little beard on there. You can enjoy that. Hopefully that won't make you too bored.
Oh no, not at all. Everything, you're comfortable. That's all. You're just comfortable. Yeah.
So
it's just
does
sad.
anyone have any, like, impressions on Cellblade, like as far as like what you like so far, what you don't like, before we move on to the last topic?
It's pretty good so far. Like I said, I'm not really like I guess you say a character action game type person. I more so do like RPGs and fighting games and stuff like that. And it has that, I guess you say, like that Souls feel to it, like those one-on-one individual encounters, and you have to really pay attention to patterns of your enemies and know when to counter and parry and stuff. It's very interesting. It keeps me much more involved than Final Fantasy 16, where I'm just button mashing most of the time and it's getting the job done. This game, I really have to really sit down and think about how to counter each opponent that I come in contact with. And so far, I'm liking it. I'm curious about where the hell this story is going to eventually go. so far, especially once I made it down to Zion and everything. So so far I'm liking it. I'm liking it so far.
Yeah, it's kind of a good point that you mentioned that. I don't know about you, but I feel like there's a little bit of Final Fantasy 16 in there as well, right? Like with like some of like how the dodge mechanics feel on like how the combat kind of like looks a little bit. Like it's not a copy, but there's a little bit of that in there, right? I don't know. I don't know if it was just me.
Man, this is the thing. Like, this is the thing. Like, if you was to ask me, like, before the game release, what do I see this game as far as a rating? Even me, in my personal opinion, I was sitting around this game could be like a 7 or an 8. Now, the reason why I say 7 is because, to me, looking at the game, when I look at the game, as far as like controls wise, I would see this game like really, really janky at some parts, like as far as controls and how it feels when you control the character and stuff. Like it was like some of the platforms sometimes feels a bit off to me, like the timing and stuff like that, or how much time it takes for back when you press the button and trying to land on certain things. And also, as far as the story, like my prediction, like before I actually played the game, I was thinking like if anything's gonna hurt this game would be like the story is not well executed. Like the story may go left field and then it just doesn't make sense or whatever like that. But overall, me just playing it right now, and the game looks good, and I love the music. The music is gorgeous.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Like every location, like even you don't really go like a lot of places at the beginning. You go to like 1 minute, you in one section, like you go to like a factory or you go underground or something like that, and every part has its own song, has its own music. It's like so this game must have a lot of tracks. Every area I go to is a different song, and they got vocals too. Very beautiful. I love the music.
You remember that area near the water where they had like, you know, you couldn't go in, man. The music that sounded like some hot ass 90s shit. I was like, damn, that goes hard, bro. Hey, you heard the female vocals?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Something about that music, it takes me back to like the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
When it comes to gaming of that era. So that's what I'm like really
because it has like that R&B. It has like that R&B like K-popness. So it kind of reminds me of like some of like the R&B singers from the 90s. You know how like they had that sound with like the heavy pianos and shit. I was like, when I was listening to that, I was like, God damn, they went all out.
A lot of Eastern music, like J-pop, K-pop, a lot of the Eastern music still has that like feel, that tone, that vibe to it compared to a lot of Western music that constantly evolve, where it doesn't. It's always changing, but it's like on the East, like it's still kept that. And I think that's another thing that's really, really pulling me in.
It's funny. It's funny you mention that because I was talking to my friend, one of my friends, a while back, and he likes K-pop a lot, and like I always tell him that what I like from some of the songs that he showed me that is that what I like is that it has like that old school like 90s feel. It doesn't like it doesn't it feels like, you know, like if two things evolved in different directions, where like Western music, like they started from a certain point, but then like they like, you know, Western music went one way and then the 90s music went the other. So like K-pop in Japan is like as if they evolved in a different direction, but from the same point.
Think about it, because you gotta think about it. Back in the 80s, because when I love 80s music, 80s rock and everything like that. And a thing that I noticed back in the 80s, no matter what part of the world, everything sounded like the 80s, but it is because everybody was trying to mimic what US was doing as far as music and everything is concerned. So every culture is trying to mimic the sound and everything. That's why we listen to Japanese music of the 80s. Sound no different if you was in America when it comes to the sound and stuff like that. But it seemed like as time progressed, you know, the West just went its own direction with music. But then, as you just said, like the East just took like the 90s or whatever like that and just went another direction and just continued it from there and stuff like that. That's why I found myself listening to a lot of that music and stuff now.
It's funny you say that because you know, I'm Hispanic, so if you ever listen to Spanish music is heavily influenced by the 70s. Like the disco era. Like a lot of songs, if you listen to, like they've evolved down to like that like discotheque kind of sound. So you know, like it's like what you're more toward what you're saying, where like, you know, they're trying to copy the US, or like they're trying to copy a certain style of music like globally, but then like some countries, like they'll fixate more on one aspect or one time, and then they'll evolve upon it and it'll become its own thing. And then like, but you can still hear the influence. That's why like my grandmother, like she listens to songs, like especially the old ones. I'm like, this shit is like disco in Spanish. Like it's literally Spanish disco. And then I listen to some modern, like, you know, some modern Spanish songs. I'm like, yo, this is like just an extension of that. So yeah, it's different, it's modern, but there's still a little bit of that like 70s in there, you know.
Yep.
So it's really cool.
But, Neil Zelich had a question real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Stellarblade. I would probably say like I can see a sequel maybe.
Well, they already said that they want to do a sequel. They already the creator said that he wants to do. He already has plans for a sequel. It's
right,
so I
can see that happening.
They should, but not no longer let it. I don't know if they have a deal, but if they can avoid it, don't sign with Sony again. If the game could be released on multi-plat, if it goes multi-plat, then they could tell Sony no, and then you know what? If you have to play honestly, like that's the thing. If you have to play PC or Xbox to get an uncensored version of the game, so be it. It's the only way to change the industry. Yeah.
Or if it can run on the Nintendo Switch 2 that's supposed to be coming out, also put it on there.
Yep. We'll see though, because I doubt the Switch 2 is gonna be strong enough. I mean, like honestly, like I love Nintendo, but they're like
look, it'll be stupid. I think the next Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever you want to call it, we still don't know if it's a Switch or not, but most likely it's gonna be a Switch 2. Like it'll be the stupidest thing for them to make another Switch, upgrade it, a new, more powerful Switch, and just so it can't be able to play with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X can't play. I think it'll be able to play it, but it'll still be a weaker version. But I think it'll still be able to play whatever the PS5 and whatever the Xbox Series X can play. It'll just be a weaker version. But as long as they're able to still be able to play those games, that's why the Switch was so successful too, as well, because they was able to play Doom and shit. Like if it wasn't able to play Doom,
it was ugly though. It was fucking ugly, but you could play it.
But you could play it if you were able to play it. That was the problem. That's why the Wii U. After a while, the Wii U couldn't play any of the other games that the PS4 and the Xbox One was because one, the gamepad was took up most of the memory, and Nintendo made developers saying, "Yo, if you make something for the Wii U, you also got to incorporate the pad, and plus the RAM and the power shared between the pad and the console." And a lot of developers say, you know what, fuck it, I ain't making shit for the Wii U because of that damn pad, you know. Or if they did release it, you got a GIMP version, like you got all these features cut, and then it just wasn't even worth it. So Switch did a lot better because they have good first party exclusives, but two, they was able to still be able to play what PS4 was playing, and the Xbox and the Xbox One was able to play. They was able to play Witcher 3. I mean, Witcher 3 ain't that great as far as like performance and stuff, but you're able to play that shit on there. So I think it'd be stupid. Switch 2 won't be able to play Series X or PS5 games.
Arkham Knight,
but Bayonetta 3 didn't look as good. They need to re-release that.
They made it cell shaded, right? Or something like that.
No. That was the one that made cell shaded. Did like a storybook Bayonetta game where she's like a little girl. She's like,
okay.
Yeah, that was like cell shaded. Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say that, like, you know, because I played Arkham. I didn't play. I seen Arkham Knight on the Switch because I have a Switch and I was considering getting it. And I saw that shit and I was like, hell no, I'm not buying this game, bro.
This is why I learned. Like this is why I learned with the Switch. Like me, I never undock my Switch. My shit just stay docked and I just play on my TV. But what I learned is that a lot of these games, and reason why people are grabbing the Switch version, because these people are playing it handheld. The game looks better if it's on a smaller screen. Do not play Arkham and shit on your big ass screen television on the Switch. Like you just messing yourself up with that,
bro. In the actual game, like it has the most impressive rain physics I've ever seen in my life to this day. I'm not even saying that because I'm a fanboy or whatever. Like that shit is insane. You can see like every drop hit him and run down his body. Like realistically, like I haven't seen another game do it that well. And then I saw this fucking Switch version. He was bone dry. It looked like Arkham City. I was like, get the hell out of here, bro. Like, how dare you fucking do this, bro? I'm not buying this. But you know what Nintendo really should do with the Switch 2? Maybe they could, or whatever it may be, maybe they should just make a real console, but then provide like an actual like straight on console, but then provide you know how PlayStation has that thing you could stream to?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Make that the controllers, so that way you can stream it into that and play it, but then you can have the full power while you play it on your TV.
See, this is my theory. This like I know this I know it's gonna be the next console is a Switch 2, but my theory was that Nintendo's next console was going to be a traditional console, powerful and everything, and they was going to keep the Switch as their dedicated handheld. They was going to keep it as their handheld, pretty much after a while discontinue the dock version and then do a pro version of the Switch Lite, and they can constantly, developers can still make games for it and everything like that, while they can continue down that line and then still have a traditional Nintendo console. But at this point,
that's big brain.
Hybrid.
That's pretty smart. They should have. They probably should have done that.
Yeah, I think they should have done that. But now at this point, it's a hybrid. They mix together both console and handheld. So I don't think they'll probably break that up.
But
now that they put it all together. But in my personal opinion, I thought it would have been better if they just kept the Switch as their proprietary handheld and then just make a traditional console, Nintendo console. I think that would have worked that way for me, in my personal opinion.
Well, I want to say this just because I don't know how long we're going to stay on the Switch subject, but like, if you really think about it, Nintendo has been fooling consumers for years with their consoles, right? Because like it's funny. It's like it's almost. I'm actually impressed by it because it's hilarious. Actually, it's really cool. It's like a good scheme. Most of the people that play Nintendo games play them for Nintendo games. You have like some people that have it as their on-the-go console where they want to play Mortal Kombat 1 or whatever, even though no one should ever play that on there. And that game is dog. First, that game's fucking dog shit, and it's even more dog shit on that console. But I'm using that as an example. So when you're playing on the Switch or whatever, you're always using previous technology, but because the first party games are always made on previous technology, whenever the games come out on their new console, it looks like a next gen version of their older games. So Mario always looks better than he ever has, but the consumer doesn't fathom that the technology is so fucking weak that he looks better by default, but it's still ass compared to what it could actually look like. And I find that hilarious because they've been doing that since like the GameCube era. Since like right past the GameCube era.
I didn't know that the Wii was nothing more than an overclocked GameCube. Like later on down, like as I got the Wii U and I started looking at the specs and people started talking about it, yeah, the Wii was nothing but an overclocked GameCube. That's all it was with motion controls. I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
It looked like it, so that makes sense.
I mean, the original Wii was basically a GameCube with motion controls. It was literally like almost the exact same hardware, except that you had the controller, the Wiimote.
Yeah, man. That's my problem with Nintendo. They just I understand they're kicking ass. It's always about the games. I'm cool with that. But man, as far as their console performance, like Xenoblade 3, I guarantee you that would have been an even better game if it had much more powerful hardware. I can imagine how much more expansive those worlds, those land masses could have possibly been in a Xenoblade game if the Nintendo Switch was much more powerful than what we have right now. Like, oh my god, like you could tell, like even their newest games, you could tell how dated it is. That's what bothers me.
Yeah. But again,
holding back.
But since it's their latest technology, since it's their latest technology, to people who just like don't really think about it, it's always like new and cutting edge to them because it's better than what they had before. It's like it's crazy. It's like it's new honestly, for them. It's kind of impressive that Nintendo created that little like infrastructure where they can keep doing that. Like I don't like it, but I think it's like genius that they actually did that. That they like conditioned their fan base into accepting that.
But this is the thing. This is the thing. They tried to play the graphics horsepower race with the Nintendo GameCube because Nintendo GameCube was way more powerful than the PS2, and I think it was underneath the original Xbox. But that generation, the weakest console was the PS2, but the PS2 dusted the GameCube and the Xbox. So
that's true.
Like, damn,
like
really
did.
We put all this power in it, but the PS2 dusted us, and that's what, in my personal opinion, changed their whole mentality after that.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, honestly, it's a combination of things for sure.
Yeah. I guess it makes it easier for them. Like they don't have to. I mean, when you really think about it, because from what it sounds like to me, that they don't have to put as much. Not saying they're like Nintendo is lazy, but it sounds like they don't have to put as much effort to have the top latest, bestest hardware like Sony and like Microsoft when it comes to making the PlayStation and Xboxes. Like they can kind of keep their same formula, but update it just a tad bit. They don't have that much pressure or having to put so much because they're known for having Mario Legend of Zelda games. So
and Metroid.
Yeah. Metroid,
Metroid is the GOAT. Sorry, that's it. I love Metroid.
Nintendo's always 2 steps ahead, like as far as innovation, but then they 1 step back when it comes to like standards. Like for instance, like the Wii introduced like the Mii's, and I remember the Sony fanboys, the Xbox fanboys were clowning, Nintendo for having the Mii avatars, and before you know it, Xbox 360 had their own avatars. Everybody started coming out with avatars. Everybody was teasing Nintendo about the motion controls. The next thing you know, you had Kinect and Sony Move. They do stuff like that, but then when they step backwards is when it comes to, remember with the Nintendo Wii, they never did HD games before into the Wii U. Sony and Microsoft was already doing HD games, 720p, 12 was it 1080, 1080p and stuff. They doing all that, but Nintendo had to play catch up with that. And then when it came to online play, Nintendo is horrible.
They still suck at it. They still suck at it now.
Horrible.
Oh, bad.
Yeah.
Really,
you know what's funny though? Honestly, though, I look at it like Nintendo is like competing with themselves. I think that they've kind of like separated themselves. Like people always talk about Xbox, PC, and PlayStation, and Nintendo's just laughing because it's kind of like what we were saying before. They have their own niche. They're like, all right, you guys can fuck around over there. We got our own people. We don't care. We're still gonna make millions. Like, I actually like me saying all that is kind of dragging them, but I actually do like Nintendo. Yeah, but I feel like, but they gotta be. But I mean, you gotta talk about it. It is what it is, right? I wanted to say, back to Stellar Blade. I wanted to say something about that game because you made a good point about the platforming. We can
give our impressions and move on to the last topic. Yeah. So Anyway.
So I agree with you about the platforming because it is pretty janky. And I noticed that I feel like the negative frames she does have in combat are kind of crazy. I know you can upgrade it, but those negative frames are they're pretty crazy. I feel like it kind of hurts the game because you're fighting 3 enemies at once, but at the same time, it has like that Dark Souls feel, but it's also kind of like a character action game. So it makes the fluidity of combat not feel like it doesn't. It kind of feels like it's blending the genres in not the best way. Like it could have done, they could have done better with it because if you have a game like a Souls game, you can fight multiple enemies at once, but it's basically a nightmare, right? Whenever you're doing that in a Souls game, but the way I was gonna say Bayonetta, the way that Eve fights is that she fights in more of a character action kind of game fashion. So when you're getting jumped by 3 enemies and you have all those negative frames, you can argue that's a skill issue. Maybe it is, but it just to me feels counterintuitive. And this is Melina's gonna laugh because I said this like 3 times already. That fucking swinging animation on the pipe is horrible. That shit is god awful. I cannot believe that they made it into the game.
I really thought they were gonna change that when I first saw it in some gameplay. I was like, what? That's the best they can do. I really thought because of how agile and acrobatic she is that I figured when it comes to transversing on the poles like that, I figured she'll do like a Lara Croft and swing around and then leap off of it. But no, they kept that.
Bro, her animation is so bootleg. It looks like I'm not trying to shit on indie devs, but it looks like an indie game, bro. And then it has no momentum, so it actually hurts the gameplay because the distance you gotta jump is far as shit off the pipe. And you're gonna make it, but it doesn't look like you're gonna make it.
Yeah, it's like she's gonna fall.
And the momentum that she pushes and swings herself like it doesn't go any faster, but she can still make it somehow.
But she makes it.
It's funny because it's so fucking stupid to complain about that, but it's like ridiculous. Like it's so silly.
She does everything else, but she can't. She barely makes it across.
Thanks for stopping by, Neo Zoic. Have a good day.
Thanks for stopping by, man.
And a good
Bye, Neo.
See you, Neo.
Hell yeah, Neo's the man. He's always good to have. He be asking them questions. The GOAT. Anyway, True Jaybird. Yeah, thanks for tuning into the stream, man. It was good to have you. I'm talking about my stream last night because he said, a cool stream last night. It's like, yeah, man, thanks. I appreciate you showing up. But and as far as I pretty much like the game. What you said was pretty accurate about some of the movement being a little janky. I kind of don't like the way the icons on the map work, where you press the middle button to find things. I feel like it has that Dark Souls things where it's kind of not very descriptive of where you're supposed to go. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And because
Yeah.
well, all right, let me be specific. Because like, you know how older games, there was much more like visual input of what you can interact with and what you couldn't. Because this game is like more of like, obviously it's a modern game. A lot of things in the world blend in together for me. So you'll be like, for example, like you'll be in like that parking garage area in the demo from like where the game starts off early on, and like that area could be super like weird to navigate because all the like modern graphics and textures make it kind of look samey. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah.
And because the icon, like instead of having the icons on the map, like on the top, like on the compass thing, they should have appeared on the map. Like if they want you to go somewhere, in my opinion, they should have made it that like, you know how some games have the icon that you can actually see, like you can actually see it like with the camera. Like you don't have to like, I don't know how to explain it. Like it's not a compass. It's not like a thing where it tells you to go in a direction, but it literally shows up on the map like a marker. I wish the markers were there. It would just make it easier to navigate. It's a minor gripe because it's not the end of the world. It's not impossible. It just makes it a little bit more obscure than it has to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like that's really like really overall I like the game. I think it's great, and
I like it so far,
I think it's really fun. That's a minor thing. I just found like when I was streaming the game, like the markers being placed the way they were just made it more janky, especially since it's not really complicated where you have to go. It just made things a little more confusing. But that might have just been me personally. But you know, otherwise the game is great. It's pretty good. I think overall, if I had to give it a score, I'd give it like a solid like 8.5 out of 10. You know, I think it's like a good game. But you know, everyone who's watching, take into account that most games that come out now I think are dog shit. So 8.5 is by my metrics by my metrics is a high score. So you know.
Yeah.
But as for me, I think it's really good. Like you guys had mentioned, like we talked about the music, which is fucking great. It kind of reminds me of like neat like ear music, also with Final Fantasy 13 in a way.
Yeah, 13 had good music. Yeah, I can see that. I can see the similarities.
And you know, like what Genpachi was saying, like some of like the how like the areas blend because it kind of like has like very like few like usage of like colors at least so far. So you can get a little like you know, going back and forth and shit. Like that construction site was kind of like I'm like going back and forth and shit. I'm like, you know what I mean? God, what was it? Yeah, the swinging, and also to indicate like how far you can go, where you got to go. Like early on, like in the demo, when you're swinging for the first time and you're supposed to get to where that ladder is, you know, where the water is. Yeah. And I'm like, how the fuck do you even get here? Like, how does this make sense, right? And then the platforming as far as like her, like you know, like moving around ledges and all that feels kind of like stiff. I'm not crazy about it. I feel like you know. It's definitely no like Uncharted or even like Enslaved. If any of you guys played that game, or had some of that where like climbing on like you're reaching over rocks, you're like shimmering around like on the walls and all that. But other than that, the combat's really fun. I like it. You know, the skills are pretty good. So and story does seem interesting. But yeah, they definitely could have had you get a better sense of direction in certain parts, especially when you look at the on the menu for the mission. It's very like very vague. So
yeah. Well, I just want to say this because like basically like it's not that finding the areas that you have to go into is hard. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, and because the game already tells you where to go. It's not a secret. It's not like the game is really asking you to find it for yourself. But the way the icons are on the compass, it would make more sense to just have them on screen. Like you know what I'm talking about, where like you have like the little thing where it shows you how far you are, like the distance or whatever.
Yeah, you got to constantly I keep hitting the scanner for the thing the map to pop up with it stuff or whatever. I keep hitting that button for it to pop up because it's just not there.
Yeah, like have it be a toggle. Have that be able to be toggled. Or alternatively, just have like you know how in Arkham you put a thing on the map, it just shows on screen where you have to go. There's like literally like a number with like your distance between you and the target or wherever. Or just have something like that, like other games have. Do either or, because having a constant, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not that it's hard to find out where to go. It's just you have to constantly bring up that fucking map.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
You have to constantly use the scanner.
That's the only thing. It's not like, I'm not expecting them to like hold my hand necessarily. Like, you know, it just could be like, I think it could be a little better. And you know, one little minor gripe is the fucking yellow paint on the shit. It's like, you know, I feel like that could be done better. Like, I don't know why games keep like having like, I'm supposed to be immersed in this world, but then there's like yellow paint.
I mean, yellow paint doesn't bother me much. I think because like some of these environments, like we said before, sometimes it looks so samey. Because if I can't jump and my character can't grab this, how would I know that my character can grab this if it looks the same? And I think that's why they put the paint there.
Yeah,
I mean, it could be a better way for them to do it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
you know,
I think with modern games, with certain modern games they need it, because again, like, it's not like there's some games that do it horribly, like God of War, where it's like it's like, look, go here. Like, you ever play Deadpool, where the guy kept saying, I'm using this crane, I have this key, you know, like they're making fun of it in that game. It's like, it doesn't have to be so obvious, but at the same time, with like the games looking so like, you know, it's not that they don't have color, it's just that they look realistic. And sometimes when you have really realistic environments, things get blended together because they don't stand out. So having that little bit of yellow sometimes is necessary. I do agree, especially in a game where where you can actually jump on some objects and can't others, and there's no other distinction than just that you can or can't do it. So you have to like literally guess otherwise. So I think I actually agree there that they should have a little bit of. I think that the yellow doesn't bother me that much. But some games do it a little bit too obnoxiously. Where like the floor is painted orange. Yeah. There's like yellow paint dripping. There's like a strip. There's an arrow on the wall. I'm like, all right, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it, I get it, motherfucker. You think I'm fucking taking the short bus?
Yeah. But yeah. So now we can get into the last topic, and that is Eiyuden Chronicle. It's a new jrpg. It's pretty much a Sweden successor. By I believe most of the original creators. I know I can't remember his name, but unfortunately he passed away, I think maybe a month or two ago before the game released, which is really unfortunate. I don't even think he was that old either. He may have been like in his 60s, but anyway, you know, RIP to him, of course. But there's a lot of localization issues. Apparently the publisher 505 Games, you know, it's really vague as far as like what they said. Because there's no real detail, but apparently they'll be fixing like localization issues. I forgot exactly how they worded it, but I don't know if what they're gonna do about it, because obviously, you know, people were voiced. I don't know if the whole game is voice acted or not, but it does have a lot of voice acting in it. So I don't know what they're gonna do with that as far as like changing like the translation and how like everything is written and whatnot. But of course, it
AI
has
coming for that ass.
Yeah, hopefully. So it has some of the same people that butchered the localization for Unicorn Overlord. I forgot who it was on X. The name starts with a Z. Had posted the comparisons between the English translation and the original Japanese version, and it shows like not just with Unicorn Overlord, but obviously with the Eiyuden Chronicle, where they just changed so much of the dialogue, where it might as well just be like the characters might as well be different, like you know what I mean. So what the fuck, like there's a line about it says something about the chuds and all that. There's one where someone said do you know if he's a man or she's a woman?
The golem, the gender of the golem or something like that.
What the fuck?
Yeah, there's another one where it's like a rubber dub.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Slub or whatever, some shit.
I mean, that's pretty funny, but why they're totally different? Like, then like.
But when you see the original like Japanese translation of the game, it's like not even close to what it actually is. I'm like, why change it? Because it's like, why not have it be more faithful to what it is? That's what people really want. They want it to be as faithful as possible. I mean, obviously you're gonna change a few words around because the language, obviously there's different ways of people communicate and all that, but I just feel like it kind of loses like its essence in a way, if that makes sense. Kind of like with Unicorn Overlord, where I didn't buy the game because of that, but it kind of takes away like the eloquent the the way everyone like is what's the fuck's the word like communicating with each other. It kind of feels like you're in the world in that time, in the setting that they're trying to present, where in the localization version of it, the Western version of it, it feels like they're trying to modernize it and, and simplify what's happening, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Well,
But I don't know if any of you guys were interested in that game. I think I saw Mugen Lord, you had
I got
posted
the
a
game.
picture
I
of
ain't opened it yet. I don't know
man
when
pulled
I'm
out the
gonna get to
copy.
it. I don't
Yeah.
like, dude. Like, seriously, I bought Unicorn Overlord still on the plastic. I haven't gotten to that game either. I'm just buying fucking games and not even open them. I got Dragon's Dogma still on the plastic. I got Like a Dragon still on the plastic. I'm just buying shit and just not even opening them right away. So
I mean, you got a couple of decades to get to them. You know what I mean?
yeah. So, but Eiyuden Chronicles, man, it was something that I was really looking forward to, for the simple fact is, man, I'm a big fan of the Suikoden series. In fact, Suikoden was like my second. It was like one of those JRPGs that really opened my mind. That JRPGs is a big experience. It's much bigger than just playing like Sonic the Hedgehog and stuff like that. These are worlds. These are characters with relationships, and they have a lot of these people have problems. They have connections with people and stuff like that. And Suikoden was that game, especially the very first game. I really got attached to the characters, and then it was 100. I think it was 105 or 101 characters to collect, and I have grown to love these characters, and even down to the battle system. Where in these type of JRPGs with the Suikoden series, instead of like your traditional JRPGs where you have like 3 or 4 party members on the field at once, this one you had 6 party members on the field at once. And the thing was, depending on the relationship that some characters have, like story wise, you're able to do like unified attacks where these characters, if they're next to each other, they can do a special team up attack with each other, depending on the relationship that they have with each other. So you was able to build those personal connections with those characters. And the whole point of the game was you're pretty much a youth that's getting together to fight against the establishment or fight against the empire or whatever that's trying to oppress your country and everything. And that was the whole point. You end up building a liberation army. And when you recruit these different characters, like these 100 heroes or whatever, they all add something unique to your base. You find blacksmiths, they'll start adding like blacksmith shops to your base. You can find an inventor. So this inventor will actually make an elevator for your base and everything. You can find a person who likes to run hotels, and you get a hotel in your base. There's all kinds of other stuff. And then you have another part of the gameplay where you have a real-time strategy where you actually have your units and armies, and it's like a paper rock system that you have where you have the on the ground infantry go against the cavalry, the guys that's on the horses and stuff. The people on the horses beat the people that runs on the ground. Then you have the artillery, the people with the longbows and stuff like that. And the thing is, if your party members, some of your party members can actually die on the battlefield, meaning that if they die on the battlefield, that's it. You'll never see them again in the story. They're gone.
That's why I love Fire Emblem.
Wow.
Yeah, they're gone. And what I like about it too with Suikoden, when you beat the game, whatever characters that you collected in the game, at the end they give you like a little small synopsis of what they did at the end of the game, like what they're doing, what they're currently doing that the game has ended. And if the person had died during the battlefield, it would literally show their picture and it says died, and then whatever battlefield that you fought in the game, it'll tell you where they died at and stuff. And it was
really intuitive.
Yeah, very interesting, man. So after they did like about 5 entries, and they all were unique. I think the worst one, I think the corniest one was like 4. That shit was ass. And that was like
I heard about that. Yeah,
that game was ass. It was like
what was the one on Xbox?
On the original? No, there was never a Suikoden on.
What game am I thinking about on Xbox? I was playing. Damn.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It was a good game, and my favorite one was the 5th game. And this is the thing about this is why I said it's a lot of tourists too, that's coming in that knows nothing about the Suikoden series, and Eiyuden Chronicles is pretty much a spiritual successor, where people's calling certain things woke in certain aspects. And I was like, wait a minute, if you play the Suikoden series, they had a lot of people of color in all the games. And then on top of that, Suikoden 5, which was like one of my favorite ones, that game, the main protagonist lived in a matriarchy where women ran everything. But the queen, she had a son. You was playing as the son. So the son was the main character that played as the prince in this highly matriarchal society where women ruled everything. But that was a great fucking game. Great game.
Yep.
You know, and today's standards, what people would call that woke and stuff. But they had a lot of these themes in these games back in the day, and it just makes me mad that there's a lot of people who don't know shit about it. And what Eiyuden Chronicle is, it's taking the best, or it's taking a lot of elements from those 5 games and putting it in and putting it into this one game.
Yeah, I mean, I get that perspective because, like,
yeah, me too.
In the end of the day, like, it's about nuance. It's like, you know, unfortunately, people have tied ideas like, you know, that would be fun in the past or like an interesting experiment. Like you said with the matriarchy, is like, obviously that's not real, but that could open an opportunity for an interesting world to make a story in. But because all those ideas have been tainted by like vapid feminism and woke people and a bunch of fucking idiots and morons that want to make everything political, they took innocent ideas that might have been a little different and now have tainted them until who knows when things die down, right? So, you know, it's one of those things, because I agree, like this, like you could play Resident Evil 3, the original, and you could like see how Jill's characterized, and you could say, oh, she's a bullshit ass girl boss. But at the time when the game came out, it was just that Jill was a cool character, and they just, you know, she was cool because she was cool. But the problem is that they'll make a game now, and they'll make a game now with like a similar setup,
but Jill,
but then they'll actually
Jill.
No. I mean, I'm not defending that. No. That remake's an abomination. I ain't even talking about that.
Yeah,
but when they make games now, yeah, like that's a great example. In the remake, they took her like badassery that was in the original, and then they made her into a girl boss, feminist.
Yeah, she became generic
character,
and she cursed every 5 fucking minutes for no reason. I said Jill doesn't do that.
So
she doesn't.
It's not so much about like the ideas themselves, it's how they're presented, especially in fiction. And I think with Eiyuden Chronicles, even though I don't have experience with that game, I think until something comes out that's explicitly like, all right, like they're actually putting woke shit in there, then you can argue, right, this might be bad localization or whatever, but I wouldn't call it woke unless like it's like woke is woke. If it ain't woke, it ain't woke. Like I don't know how to explain it otherwise.
Because I think if anything, you can say maybe the localization could be considered woke. I guess it depends on what you're looking at as far as like the context of what's being said.
And that's why
the fact that excuse me, the fact that certain people who are working on it, they have they're into like the diversity and all that shit. I forgot who it was. I think it's some guy named Brian something. He had an interview, I think in 2012, people found, where he was like talking about diversity and representation and all that shit, and also trying to mold the translation into what they see it as, kind of, in a way. And I think that's another issue that's going on, where they're not being faithful whatsoever. Like they're just trying to make it into something that they believe that it is, opposed to actually just respecting the work that the original creators were doing, and just giving it to the audience. I think that's
really what the problem is. It's not about like, it's about the context of it. If you have the localizers changing lines into things that were never like said, and then on top of that they're like talking about fucking patriarchy and shit, then I feel like those localizers should be bashed. If they're talking about other things that are like, what's the word, like it's just like a localization that you don't like, or like just because they like changed it or changed the line, I think there's a level of like how bad that is, right? Like if it's totally different, why would you even care? You know what I mean? Like if it's totally different, why would you even why wouldn't you care? Because then you lose the heart of the story. But if it's something similar, but it's just said in a more westernized way, then I think there's like levels of how bad that could be. And honestly, I personally haven't seen enough of Eiyuden Chronicles to know, because I've only seen the lines that have come out, which I would admit are like pretty like ass fucking translations. But again, I don't know if the whole game is like that, and I don't know how much of it is actually woke or not.
But the one thing that I didn't like was what Mugen was. I mean, we're talking about earlier about her hair, that black character's hair, the main character. I mean, I don't know if she's a main character or a main female. I found that to be like messed up, but I mean, I think there's nuance, and I think that we need to like, if they're changing it to add like dumbass woke shit in it, then so be it. But if it's just bad localization, then it is what it is, and people are gonna choose how much they like or don't like it, and decide for themselves.
Yeah, man. That's my message always, man. Decide for yourself, man. Like don't let other people make decisions for you. You know what I'm saying? You know, you can take some of the information. Take that information and then you make your own decision. That's all I try to preach to my audience. You know, despite me with my opinion, what I say, don't just take my word for it. Look into it for yourself, and you make that decision. You know, I'm not the answer to everything, and everybody that you follow, that you may follow on YouTube or Twitter, they're not the arbiter either. They're not the arbiter to any of this either. You know what I'm saying? You still got to think for your fucking self. And I think in today's generation, especially with social media, a lot of people can't think for themselves. You know what I'm saying? They're looking for other people to make decisions for them. And social media made it really, really bad. Yeah. And then with social media, allow people to create their own echo chambers, you know, and then to block out other people so they can constantly keep hearing the same message. And that people are not used to hearing opposition. People are not used to hearing someone who disagrees with them. That's why everybody panics. That's why everybody keeps saying you're oppressing me, or you're racist, or you're sexist, homophobic, because they're not used to people saying something that's different than what they believe in and what they're saying, because they're constantly around people that agrees with them, and they block everything else out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's
brought that up because people were saying that they were getting banned from the Eiyuden Chronicle Discord server for pointing out the localization issues, and some people who were in that server were also backers for the Kickstarter, and which is like, you know, really fucked up when you think about it.
Yeah. And like I said, look, you should be allowed to criticize and give your opinion. There's a difference between somebody actually giving constructive criticism and then somebody just being a troll and a dickhead. There's a difference.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, I agree with that.
But the thing is, most of the criticism is legitimate, but they take that as harassment. They take that, you know, as being racist and all this other nonsense and these buzzwords that they use because they want to just try to shut out the conversation. They don't want to have a conversation at all.
They want to paint you as a certain picture so that they don't have to deal with you because they feel like they've already discredited you.
Exactly.
And you know, all the shit that you're talking about now is funnily enough, if you play Metal Gear Solid 2, if you listen to like the AI kernels of dialogue toward writing, that really became real. That's literally the society we live in now. So it's kind of fucking crazy to think about. But you know, like here's the thing. For me personally, I think the translation that I've seen is ass. I think it's bad translation. I think it's bad. But at the same time, like I think people need to like use their judgment. They have to really like understand what's being said, like, and what's going on. Like I would like, if I play a game, if I find out a game has localization where they're talking about like woke shit, like legit, I'm not talking about like what like a blanket wokeness. I mean, like they're legit like just talking about like, you know, degrading men and like doing all this shit. And then you look at the original lines, it's not there at all. Then to me, I'm going to disqualify that game because I personally, I don't want to support that. Right. Obviously there's going to be some people that don't care and they're going to buy the game either. And I mean, they're going to buy the game anyway. I mean, and either person has their right to choose what they want to do. But at the same time, you can't call somebody who sees those lines wrong and say like, oh, you're full of shit. It doesn't matter, because it matters to them. They think it's bullshit. And into the same token, to the person who's going to buy the game anyway, why are you letting someone's opinion about it stop you from buying it if you're going to buy it? So in the case of Eiyuden Chronicle, that's how you pronounce it, Eiyuden Chronicles?
Yeah, I think it's how you pronounce it. Yeah.
All right. So I mean, I wish I spoke Japanese, bro. I'll be going crazy out here. But anyway, I don't even know if that's Japanese now that I think about it. But Eiyuden Chronicles, for me, I don't like the translation because I feel like it does far remove it from what it originally was. However, you know, if you're gonna enjoy the game, like if you personally, Mugen, if you buy the game and you enjoy it, you know, then by all means enjoy it. You get what I'm saying? I'm not going to be like, Mugen, I don't know why you're playing that game. I don't know how he could support it or whatever. Now, if it was some woke shit that's like legit woke, and then you were talking about like being against this stuff, then that's a rightful. People are right in saying like, all right, but obviously that's a right way to call it out.
Yeah, for me, it's like if it's drowning in wokeness, no, I'm not playing that shit. Like for instance, Spider-Man 2. Like,
oh god,
you got pride flags every fucking where. And, like my brothers and them got the first game and the second game, and my brother's mad said, "Yo, how come with Miles missions everything is just fucking it's fucking woke shit? All his missions are woke shit." That's a perfect example of like it's just so much woke shit. No, I'm not playing it. I'm not supporting it. But if it's like stuff sprinkled in where I can just roll my eyes at I'll roll my eyes at it and just continue to play it. But something that Spider-Man's that perfect example is just drowning in that shit. It's just
well, and also as a fucking man, as a man, you look at how Peter is treated in that game. Like if you know about, I mean, if you have like Mugen, I know because I've seen your streams. You know what I'm talking about. Like that shit is crazy that they portrayed him like that. You know what I'm talking about already, bro. Like I was like, what the hell? I was like, no woman in real life will like this guy.
Yeah.
No, in real life, this version of Peter would be a fucking bitch.
Yeah. It was that. That's why I never bought the first two Spider-Man, especially the first game. I like when I saw the trailers, and then when my brothers bought it, because I was going to buy it. I was like, let me see what their game, them playing some of it. And when I seen the portrayal of how they done Peter, and it's how annoying fucking Mary Jane is, and the portrayal of her character, and Silver Sable, and her design. If you look at who Silver Sable is as far as her design in the Marvel comics, and you look at the fucking Silver Sable that we got here. Totally horrible design, and then every time Spider-Man encounters her,
she washed him.
She washes this motherfucker.
Yeah,
and she washes him.
Yeah, and they made her stumpy. They took this beautiful like supermodel looking one, made her like into what's people say dumpy.
Yeah, I'm like, yo,
Trumpy,
Peter
Humpty Dumpty.
Peter for the Sinister Six, but every time he meets her, she whoops his ass every fucking time.
But there's a worse scene.
When I saw that bullshit, I was like, man, I ain't buying this shit.
You know what's even worse? But you know what's even worse? Mary Jane telling Peter to back off because she had to sneak in there. And I'm like, bitch, if they catch you, they're gonna kill all the hostages. You can't do shit. He could climb on. This guy could climb on ceilings. This guy could climb on ceilings, hide. He could climb on ceilings, hide in vents. He could whoop all their asses and actually get the hostages out of there.
In the first game,
she told Peter, "Hold on, I got this." All she did was
bitch and complain at Peter and talk down to Peter every time.
Talk down to him.
I'm the one with the powers.
I'm
the one with the powers. You can't.
And bro,
you have to rely on me to save you.
And you know what's the irony?
Down somewhere, hoping she doesn't get hurt or something.
Yeah, she talks.
You know what's the
crossfire of anything?
Peter.
Yeah, you know what's the irony in all this?
Her mouth and shit. Like, she acts like she got the superpowers or something. And it's like, what the fuck's going on? It makes no sense.
The irony is after all that shit she tells Peter, he still has to go in there and save her and everybody else now because that dumbass went in there.
Exactly.
So it's like, and I'm like,
it doesn't matter.
And I'm like, dude, it's not like this is a fan theory. Like, this is actually what happens in the game. Like, and none of the writers caught this and said, yo, maybe this is fucking stupid and we shouldn't like write this way. Like,
right.
Yeah, and then my brothers, when they played the DLC, the Miles Morales DLC, before the second game came out, and they fought the Tinkerer. Now in the comics, the Tinkerer is male. They decided to make the Tinkerer female.
Oh yeah,
and then a woman of color on top of that. And she was beating Miles' ass, and my brothers getting like, wait a minute, like, how is he beating your ass like that? Like, bro, like she don't got hands, and she don't got hands. Like, how she's whooping his ass like that?
I mean, the detective from Spider-Man 1 was giving him the smoke. Yeah, she gained some powers and was washing him up. I'm like, look, I like badass and strong female characters, but it can't be fucking stupid. Like, come on,
come on.
And then Peter's apologizing. It's like he's apologizing like a fucking cuck. Like, I'm sorry, I know my language isn't like exactly beautiful or nothing, but like, how you got this guy apologizing to Mary Jane? Like, no sane man would be with fucking Mary Jane in that series.
No, nobody. Why were y'all mention about the because I finally got to see the fight with Scream.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh my
Mary
God!
Jane.
Why y'all didn't say how bad that was?
I'm sorry. All your problems are my fault. I'm sorry, Mary Jane.
Oh my god, that was terrible. All I was hearing was she was just calling Peter a Dusty, and he was just taking it. I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I stopped my dreams for you, even though I'm a reporter. I succeeded, but it's your fault.
It's your fault. You can't pay the bills. Oh my lord, it was so bad. When I saw it in the trailer, I was like, okay, hyping it up. But then when I finally seen the fight and the dialogue, I was cringing so hard.
Yo,
and
you know what's crazy?
Oh god.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Joe, finish what you were saying. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead. Finish what you were saying. I'll after.
Okay, you're fine. I heard that from a review that some people were saying that, oh no, it's just this because she was under control. You know, the symbiote's taking over. No, the symbiote amplifies what you're already feeling and thinking.
Yeah.
So this is how she actually feels about Peter.
Yeah,
so
talking all this shit and treating him like garbage.
And that's
after that, I'll be like, yo, I don't want. I'm staying far away from you. Get the fuck out of here, because I know they had a house together and said like, bitch, get the fuck out, pack your shit and go.
We saw the scene where they showed them cooking. It was showing them cooking. They were showing them take. They were showing them in the room, and they kept showing like hands cook. I said, watch that shit be Peter cooking.
Yeah,
turned out he was the one cooking, bro. I was like, get the hell out of here.
That's Peter,
bro. But after I saw my brothers play the first game, and I was like, yo, it's going to get worse from here. I'm telling you right now, it's going to get worse. They're going to up this shit. They're going to up it. I was right when Miles Morales DLC came, and then when part 2 came out, I was like, yup, I was right about this shit. Now that's the type of wokeness in games that I would never support. But if it's like little sprinkled dialogue or whatever like that, I just roll my eyes at it, like, okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But the game is still great. I love the characters and stuff like that. But Spider-Man, no, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't make myself buy that game. Couldn't.
And I think it's just like even talking about it, right? Because like, look, I pre-ordered Stellar Blade because I thought it was gonna be censored. I thought it wasn't gonna be censored. You find out that it's censored. You end up getting the game. Had I known before that, I wouldn't have gotten it day one. I probably would have like waited. You know what I'm saying? I would have still supported it, but I might have waited or whatever.
Like, you're not getting your money's worth out of it.
Yeah, I'm not going to give them my full money day one for it. But if I already have the game, I can still. All right, even if I enjoy the game, it doesn't mean that I should shut up and not talk about those things. So in the case, like you said, where there's shit sprinkled in there, you should still call it out. You should still mock it. You should still talk about it. You shouldn't be like, all right, well, I like the game, so I'm gonna stay silent about all this shit that I actually don't agree with. And when people try to silence people, I think that's when it's fucked up.
Yeah, because even though I got Stellar Blade, I'm still going to talk about the whole censorship thing, because it's still a discussion that needs to be had. And of course, like I said, Shift Up said the game is going to be uncensored, and which it wasn't. Like I said, in my case, when it comes to the censorship, I don't like censorship either. And when it comes to the situation, which I said is crazy with the whole Stellar Blade, like everybody is like stuck in this weird position and stuff like that. For me, even look at the censor outfits and stuff. To me, Eve still looks sexy or whatever like that, but
I agree.
Still call it out. Still need to call it out. But for me, her still being the sexy protagonist, female protagonist that I wanted, it's not bothering me as much as it's bothering everybody else, and I'm still willing to play the game or whatever like that. Because my whole thing that I was pushing for this game was, I want the sexiness to come back when it comes to our female characters, and Eve is that exact.
It's definitely that.
Yeah,
she's definitely that symbol of that.
And they made that well. Yep.
She still is that sexy Eve that I always wanted and stuff like that. That's why for me, I'm like, I understand what the argument is, and people need to call it out. People need to really put their foot down and say, hey, because like I said, your voice can be heard. Because if you guys don't know, just recently, all the bitching that the fans did with the Tomb Raider remastered, they removed the posters, the naked poster
they
They got it back. They put it back.
Yep.
They put it back.
Yeah.
Wait, what? I'm sorry. Can you guys fill me in on that?
They removed the posters because they had her like scantily clad, these posters over a locker, so they patched it out. They stealth patched it, and then fans complained and they noticed it and they called them out and then they put it back in. So it shows that their voice mattered and they got the shit put back in.
Still talk about this, despite despite that Eve is still sexy regardless of the censorship that they did. No, you still need to call it out. You still need to just be on their ass, because it's a possibility that they can change this. To me, in my personal opinion, I think they might change it. I think they may revert back to the uncensored version.
I think it's possible. I think so.
It's possible.
I think it is.
I mean,
really think it is.
You got
and it's still a win.
Grums that's going on. So
it's still a win.
You know, maybe. Yeah. So it may like end up, you know, forcing Sony's hand or Shift Up's hand on both of them.
Because the CEO of Shift Up, he commented about the whole thing. And normally a company don't comment about shit. When it comes to censorship, they don't say shit. They just put the game out. People will bitch about it. They won't even comment on it. They don't say shit.
Yeah,
but the CEO talked about it and stuff like that. So he's fully aware of what everybody is saying. So I think people should.
Yeah, he said that they're like under discussion. So
do it respectfully, because I keep telling everybody, I say, look, you want your voice to be heard, you still got to do it the correct way. Don't be an asshole about it or what like that, because these people are waiting for you guys.
They won't listen to you, or
exactly.
Just like,
and they're waiting. The journalists and them are waiting
to generalize everyone.
Yeah, exactly. They're waiting for a small handful of y'all to fuck something up really bad and then just generalize all of us. So you have to be smart about it. And I keep telling people that these journalists, these wokies, they don't play by the same rules that we have to play by. See, they can go around and be disingenuous. They can go around and keep fucking lying and saying whatever, but they still have the media. They still have the government. They still have all these. They have these big corporations behind them, so they can be disingenuous and get away with it. Us, we can't do that. We can't play by those same rules. We have to be calculated, and we always have to provide receipts. As long as we got receipts, they can't refute anything, and we still have to be respectful in a way. You know what I'm saying? Because
facts are the worst enemy.
That's it for us. That's it for us if we fuck up.
Yeah, but facts are their worst enemy.
I want to quickly read something that someone had commented on a community post. I think it was about the podcast or something like that. By the name of Phantom Zero. He had told me, this is in regards to Eiyuden Chronicle with the censorship. He had told me basically the two YouTubers that cover JRPGs, one being Backlog Battle and what's his name? David Vink?
Yeah, David. I follow him.
Yeah. So I saw the video because he had told me that they made a video about it. Well, David Vink made a video about it, and Backlog Battle had a community post about it. And to summarize what Backlog Battle was saying was that you know, a lot of toxic people in the JRPG community didn't outright say what it was about, but you know, trying to paint it like anyone who's calling out the censorship is like some toxic fan or something like that. And then with David Vink, you know, he pulled up some of the examples, you know, like some of the goofy dialogue and all that, and saying, you know, a lot of people are kind of like overreacting and all that. And he's saying that the localization for the game kind of adds more, I think the word he used was like flavor to it. So kind of like insinuating, like, you know, in a way, like the localizers actually made the game better. And you know, I disagree. And people even pointed out in the comments that it seemed like he was cherry picking the examples as far as like the translation and all that and the localization, and that there was much worse examples he could have used that actually would have really you know, obviously would have went against his narrative. And then he's liking posts where people are like saying like, oh, chuds is like a term for like Republicans, and there's other comments that he's liking where people are saying, oh, conservatives are having a bad time right now, or just overreacting, or the ones blowing out of proportion and all that. And it's like, the thing is that it's not even so much a political thing. It's the fact of the matter is that it's the principle of the matter, first of all, because people don't like censorship, and people don't like, you know, in a way, the localization is like censoring like what the original translation would have been. So people are tired of it. They're spending money, and you also have people here like supporting on Kickstarter and all that. Some of them didn't even get their copies yet, which is insane. Some of them being banned from the Discord for even voicing their opinion and concerns and valid criticism in regards to localization. So, you know, a lot of people trying to make it seem like it's not a big deal, or anyone talking about it is toxic, when people just want something faithful to what was being advertised and what they figured what it would be. Same thing with Stellar Blade. So, you know, people calling this stuff out is very important. And, you know, it's not like you can't like use the argument like, oh, it's a little censorship here and there or whatever. Like, you know, censorship is censorship. And when you
agreed,
you know, butcher localization, when you see the people who are involved with these games, with the localization teams, and what their agendas really are, then it's worth calling out. And people recognize the patterns. That's kind of basically what it is. They're not just blindly being outraged. They're just recognizing the patterns of what's been going on.
There's also another thing that you're not mentioning that I don't think anyone has brought up yet, that we have access to the information now. Because in the 2000s and 90s, we had like the internet and shit, but it wasn't like now where you can pull up shit directly said by the companies. You can pull up receipts. You can say, hey, I can actually just go and actually search the Japanese version. It's not hard to find this information now. So yes, now back then people accepted it because they didn't know better. But now people have they can find out about it, and they have a right to not like it. Now they know. If they're ignorant to it, then it's one thing. You could say, oh, people accepted it before, but how many people in the PS2 era was playing and having translations of Japanese games, unlocalized, right? So, I mean, look at anime. Like how we grew up with anime in the West, where how long it took to get better translations, how many animes were completely changed narratively because of how they were localized, but we didn't complain because we didn't know better. But now that people know better and they can see how these things are ruined or changed or whatever, now they have an opinion about it. So you can't fault these people for saying no, they don't like it, or liking the localization, or finding out that a game is censored. Because how many games we played growing up that we didn't know were censored, right? So I think that that's the difference now, that these people don't understand it. They're like, oh, just shut up. Because that's an argument that I've heard. Like, oh, you've played these games before for years. It never mattered. But now people know. So, now it matters. And the last thing I was going to say about Stellar Blade is the game is still a W because it's pissing all those people off.
Yeah.
And we would have never got a game with even. The fact that we got a game with a character like Eve in it, and she's not just a sexy female character. They really went all out with her proportions, everything. This is really crazy considering where the gaming climate is now. So it's still a W. It's still a win.
Breath of fresh air as far as AAA games are concerned.
Yeah.
So.
And people should play the game if they want. They should still. I recommend people play it. I think the game is good. Support it, but at the same time, if you don't like the censorship, call it out. If there's other ways to make if it was Sony who made the decision, there's other ways to punish them. You could cancel your PS Plus subscription like some people are doing. You can do that. Why you don't have to punish Shift Up. And somebody made a point to me on X where they said that there might be legal tape preventing them from saying that Sony forced them to do this. They might actually have legal repercussions for doing that. So
he may just put the CEO of Shift Up may just put the blame on him, knew about it, whatever, but it may be just he can't directly say that we were kind of pressured to do it or for whatever reason.
It could be grounds for a lawsuit. So we don't know
stuff we don't know. We may never know. So
I just don't think a person who made a game like that would want to censor their game. So it's clear that the decision was likely because of Sony. If it was because of Sony, we should punish Sony, but at the same time, we should also call out the censorship because it is still censorship and it is still fucking bad. So I think that was everything, right? We got to all the subjects, and we've been on here for 3 hours. Mugen, you're a patient man. You sit here through all this.
Yes, really appreciate it.
You gained your battle scars. Melina, you obtained your battle scars too. You all get a purple heart. All right. All right, guys. So
we did pretty good.
We should we should wrap things up, I think, because we I think we hit everything.
Gotta start cooking.
We covered a lot.
Yeah.
We was already cooking. What are you talking about?
You go first.
Huh? What happened?
Did you hear me? Oh, did you hear me?
What happened?
Who you said could go first? Music Lord?
I was wondering what's going on? What happened? What you want me to do? What happened?
Yo, that facial expression, bro.
I'm I thought it went through.
Oh no, it was so low. I heard the voice was so low. Did he ask me something? I'm like, oh, okay. Oh yeah, no.
I said, gotta meme that.
Yeah. Like I said,
yeah,
before,
right, yeah.
I appreciate coming to the podcast every time. I love talking with like-minded people and be able to just express our ideas and stuff. But those of you guys who know who I am, of course, Mugen Lord. You know, I'm a gaming YouTuber, cover a lot of culture war stuff. I have a Stellar Blade video coming Monday, so if you're interested, when they go check that out, you can go to my channel, youtube.com/Mugen Lord. I'm also I got a comic book company that I started 3 years ago. Got the LLC. It's called Venus Orion Comics. What you see right here, my posters is of my comic book characters. They'll be pretty much coming soon. I'll be launching my first comic within my shared universe in September. So my book will be done next month, and then I'll be preparing for the campaign and everything. So if you guys are interested in all that type of stuff, stay tuned. I'll have like a little teaser trailer getting everybody ready for it. And that's pretty much it. I hope you guys definitely have a good evening. I'll probably play some more Stellar Blade before I go to bed later on. So.
Yep, man. Always good having you. Always good talking to you, and it's always a fun time. You know, your channel is really good. I think people should check it out. I like it. Since I found you, I find your content pretty good. So, you know, everyone give him a follow, give him a watch, check out his comic, and when it comes out. And yeah, I wish you the best with the comic, man. I hope it's a real big success and inspires others, bro.
Yeah, Mugen, I really appreciate you coming on again, and you know, you make real good content. Everyone, keep an eye out for his Cellblade video. I'm sure it's going to be good. And again, like what Jim Pachi was saying, hope the comic does well, because we need alternatives. We need people who are passionate and are going to put out some quality content. You know, no matter what it is.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. I appreciate it.
So
you said it's coming out next month.
Oh no, my comic's gonna be done next month. My artist finished drawing it all up and everything, but the campaign for its launch will be in September. Yeah.
In September. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Should be on the way. Congratulations to you.
Thanks.
Welcome.
So Melina, you can go next. The outro.
I was trying to think while he was while Mugen was saying his. I'm a bit of a shy.
Good strategy.
Yes, good strategy. Yes, they have me go last.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm being shy, Rick. I as always. Well, I mean, this is my second time being on, but I appreciate you guys so much for bringing me on. It is such an honor. Just like what Mugen said, that it's so wonderful to finally come across like-minded people that share the same ideas, and we can come together for the greater good and make a difference, you know. And great conversation. This has been great. And then I finally got to meet Mugen as well, because I was hoping, hopefully the next time he could be on, because I loved what he had brought to the conversation as well. So it's very nice that you guys have invited me on here again. I hope that I provided some perspective, I guess, you know. And as far as what I do, I'm an artist, and I play video games as well, but I'm still getting my stuff together because life is lifing. But, you know, I'm taking it day by day, and I'm still holding on and moving forward with that, because I refuse to let this die on this hill or let this go, you know. So yes, but I'm still definitely going to make it happen. But this is a good start right here, you know. So, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely.
Well, it's glad to have you, and it's good to have a female perspective, because contrary to what those woke ass dumbasses would think, there are women that aren't into all that bullshit they're pushing, and there are women that like sexy female characters, like masculine men. And I think that it's important that your voice is heard, because I guarantee you that more than half of the people in the world probably think more like you do than they do like these loud minorities that are speaking.
Yep.
So yeah, they're just scared. They're just scared to speak up.
Most of the shit would die if more women just speak the fuck up. Women can end this shit. Actually, women can end this shit. If more women speak up about this shit will go away.
Most women don't speak up about it because a lot of people don't speak up about it in general because they're afraid of getting ganged up on. But you have to understand that there's more of us than them. It's just that they're loud, and they make their position
minority.
They make their position known. But that being said, always good to have you, Melina. You're always welcome. Always like hearing your perspectives. You know, you add something to the podcast, and we appreciate you.
I appreciate it so much as well. You know, I'm not going to lie, I was a part of the individuals that are just scared and hesitant to speak up because of I was afraid what it was gonna bring, but I don't care anymore. I just want to live in truth, So yeah,
That's how it
that's
should be.
all what I'm all about.
You
Yes,
know what
that's how
they
it
say,
should be.
right? If you want peace, war is necessary.
Yes.
Yep.
I just want to do it without violence. Oh God.
Hey, they call it the culture war, so it is what it is. But yeah.
So,
All
Jim
right.
Pocky, the intro.
Yeah.
Outro,
So I do animation. I do a lot of gameplay. I stream. I talk a lot of shit. Unfortunately, you guys might have to put up with that. But I have an animated series called Augur. I'm working on episode 2. I do digital art. I'm working on a comic as well. So a lot of different things. A lot of gameplay stuff, a lot of Arkham content. I'm a big Arkham fan, but I play other games too. I stream. I do some commentary, as you can see here. So check out my channel. If you like it, subscribe. I'd appreciate it. If not, that's fine too. And and Revenant and everyone, thanks for having me on. Always good to co-host with you. And yeah, can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, you've been great as usual, and of course, everyone on the panel today, including Christian Frades and trying to get Reborn, but Discord was acting weird on my laptop. But anywho, everyone who came on the panel, everyone in the comments, I appreciate you all. Getting tongue tied. I need to drink some water. It's been a while here. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys coming through and checking out, interacting, and the panel saying what needs to be said, because this stuff is important, and a lot of people are very quick to try to silence people who speak the truth, really, when it comes to that. And so yeah, obviously people already know what I do on my channel. I talk about what's going on within gaming, a lot of I guess you can call it culture war, whatever you want to call it, anti-woke channel, whatever works. But yeah, I would definitely want to try to talk about Cellblade in a separate video this week. I got to work on that. Talk about the censorship and what needs to be done, in my opinion. But I'm going to keep playing Cellblade and give my thoughts on it too. But anyway, it's been a good podcast with you guys. Really appreciate it. Jim Pachi, host, Mugen Lord. It's a pleasure, and same with you, Melina.
And you know what? But I just want to say before we go, Mugen, we got to play some Tekken or something, stream some Tekken live or something like that. Let's fucking go.
Yeah. Definitely. I definitely want to do a lot more lobbies and get together and do a lot of multiplayer stuff. I had a good streaming streak going on, but then my daughter, she got into track. She got onto the track team, so nice. I've been taking her to a lot of her track meets, and then that kind of messed up my whole streaming thing because she goes. Like her track schedule is just crazy. So once she's done track at the end of May, I'll be back to doing that and streaming again and try to do some Tekken, some Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, and a couple other games we could probably play on stream and stuff like that. So definitely be looking forward to doing that.
For sure, yeah. And congratulations to your daughter, man. And it's good you're doing that, man. That's what a good dad does, bro.
Yeah, being a full-time single dad, like it's a lot of work on top of doing this comic book thing, on top of being a YouTuber, and then on top of being a 3D hentai animator and all this other type of stuff. It's just, man, it's trying to juggle everything.
But that's a blessing, bro.
Done. That's what matters.
But it's a blessing because you get to do it. You get to do what you love, and that's gonna pay off in the end. So it might be hard work, but I always consider that stuff. When I'm spending 14 hours animating, I'm like, whatever. I'm like, it's a blessing that I can even do it. So,
yep.
But all right. So that's it, right? We're gonna head out.
Yeah,
so.
we're out. Yeah, we're out. We're heading out.
All right. So
leave it out.
See you, bro. Catch y'all later.
Take it
see
easy.
You, Marina. See you, Revenant.
Peace.
See you. Peace.